Okay, we can watch Flop now, I guess. The gacha community is dying, and it's your fault. In defense of Hoyoverse. And be real, anyone who has in defense of insert, like, major corporation here, I'm gonna think you're a little bit fucking silly. So, let's take a look how, Flop is doing this video.
Hello there, Flip here, and today quite a different video to what I usually do, but I really just want to open up a more honest discussion about the gacha community and all the BS
I apologize that he's British. I apologize that he's British. I feel... I'm very sorry.
I've seen from it over a few months, coming from the perspective of someone who primarily plays Hoyoverse games, and how I feel like the tribalism and straight up lies are ruining people's experiences with these games, as well as steering them away from something they may enjoy, and how a lot of creators in the space are using you and keeping you angry at nothing and nobodies, whilst...
Am I crazy? I actually find it hard to understand what he's saying. Like, he doesn't enunciate his words. I thought I was bad sometimes, but I've actually find it hard to understand the words he's saying.
Lies are ruining people's experiences with these games, as well as steering them away from something they may enjoy, and how a lot of creators in the space are using you and keeping you angry at nothing and nobody.
Keeping you angry? Oh, angry.
Whilst they benefit from all the engagement and attention. So I'm going to be debunking a lot of the misinformation I've seen over the past few months, and as a quote-unquote Hoyo shill, try to give a different perspective to what is commonly called bad in this community, as this gacha tribalism helps no one at all really, despite what a lot of the people
Well, about that's kind of funny, right? I mean, we found out yesterday, right? Like there was some detectives on Twitter. There were some detectives on Twitter who found out that Flop did indeed make a video called "Why Wuthering Waves Will Never Surpass Genshin," and then deleted it. So he's not entirely guilt-free, right?
Forming and benefiting from this engagement may tell you, and I feel like as consumers of both gacha content and the games itself,
also like, isn't this video just doing the exact thing that he's gonna criticize, like talking about like gacha tribalism and being like, oh yeah, all that stuff is kind of bad, proceeds to make a video doing exactly that? Like the irony is just kind of lost.
Of just better content in our spaces, as well as not being lied to in order to fuel a stupid fucking gacha war where all the sides are angry at each other for no real reason. But before we do that, as always, channel members, thank you for your support. It does mean the world to me. I love you all, and with that out of the way, let's begin. So to give some brief background, I'm mostly going to be highlighting the discourse around the mainstream gacha games, being Genshin Impact of course, Star Rail, Wuthering Waves, and ZZZ. Because if you spent any time interacting with these communities either in YouTube or the hellhole that is Twitter, I wouldn't be surprised if you see the constant arguments and toxicity that plagues the space. Genshin has been around for the longest, in which it's had its fair share of extremely toxic discourse over its years, but ever since the release of Wuthering Waves as well as Natlan, I feel like it's been taken to a whole other level. And no, even though I'm mostly going to be defending Hoyoverse games in this video, the Hoyoverse communities are—
Oh, that just sounds so gross. Oh, that just sounds so gross. Oh, I'm defending Hoyo. Why do we have to defend a game?
Not at all innocent either. It is most definitely a problem on all sides, with the Thea discourse before a gameplay came out.
Did he purposefully like try and not pronounce her name right? Was that supposed to be a dig?
It is most definitely a problem on all sides, with the Thea discourse before a gameplay came out, as well as whenever Hoyoverse players brigade the Wuwa live streams, which I hope we can all agree is bad and childish. I'm just able to resonate more with the extremely negative sides of the Hoyoverse discourse more because I play Hoyoverse games. Now, before Wuthering Waves even released, there is really no way to know who started attacking who first, because as both Wuwa and Genshin were open world gacha games, with Wuthering Waves taking—
How about I don't care? Can I be so— do you know what I think about all this gacha tribalism stuff? This might make me sound like a bad person, okay? Here's what I think about gacha tribalism. I don't fucking care that it exists anymore. I don't. I see it on Twitter. I see people maybe make videos about it. Do you know what I do? I go and do something else and it fucking goes away. I'm like, oh, okay. There's a Twitter thread about a dumb thing. All right, cool. I'll just go do something else in my fucking life. Bro, I turn off my PC. I turn around. Oh my God, guess what? It goes away. Like, I genuinely just don't give a fuck. And hey, if someone is being stupid and I think of a funny meme or shit post to respond to it with, I'm going to do it. Why? Because it's funny. Because it means nothing. It actually means nothing. So, will I shitpost about it? Sure. Because funny. but it ain't that deep. These are fucking video games.
Taking heavy inspiration from Genshin, there was of course going to be comparisons made in which both sides of course were bickering about whose game is better, and the Wuwa team even fed into this themselves by seemingly mocking Genshin's exploration.
The Wuwa team? A brand new RPG release featuring action, story puzzles, and more.
Couple that in with Wuwa's, to put it lightly's rocky launch, and that just laid the groundwork for the communities to start bickering. This is also where the conspiracy theory of Hoyoverse paying its creators to not play Wuwa came from, even though that was quickly proven untrue as a lot of Genshin creators went to play Wuwa. And don't worry, I'll touch more on that.
Didn't Ryuku Sensei actually reveal that were JP Hoyo creators who actually were told they couldn't play Wuwa? Or something like that. Like there was actually like confirmed cases of JP Hoyo creators not able to do Wuwa stuff and compare them or do anything like that.
Is that he was contacted, because I've seen the entire context of things, that this section here, he was asked, or rather, this is a bit of a lost in translation thing with Japanese. They said, literally, they said, we would prefer if you didn't play Wuthering Waves. But this is a thing with Japanese where there's a lot of like subcontext into what they actually mean about things. Like if I ask someone to do something for me and they say that's a little bit difficult, I mean they're not saying no, but effectively saying yeah, no, go fuck yourself. That's the way Japanese works as a language. So even though they are saying we would prefer it if you didn't, and with him being at the time an official Hoyoverse content creator, the implication is that we don't want you to do that. So that's what this means here. So here he says that he was contacted right after he finished his initial stream of Wuthering Waves. So Nidometer here has actually streamed Wuthering Waves before, and that first time that they did that, they were contacted right away after the stream by an official Hoyoverse liaison, a person from Hoyoverse, from their content creators server in Japan, and they asked them, or rather should I say, more specifically, they said, we would prefer it if you didn't, which, like I said earlier, is like them asking them, we really don't want you to do that.
So that's just a lie. That is actually just a lie. That's just straight up a lie.
Later. Also, in this video, I may use generalizing terms like Hoyoverse community or Wuwa community, in which I'm obviously not trying to encapsulate all players in the space, it's just the easiest thing to say. So if you're not a part of what I'm referencing, don't worry, I'm not talking about you. Now, at first, there was just comparisons from both sides of the games talking about which aspects of each they thought the games did better, but then there have been two creators in particular that have pretty much championed hatred towards Hoyoverse as a way to shield criticisms from Wuthering Waves. Those creators being Saint Tontis and Glaive Kyo. The bulk of both of these creators' channels is just being overly critical of Hoyoverse games and its players, as a way to give criticism about the games they once loved, as it may make the games better, and I'm sorry, but that's complete bullshit. The first thing I want to highlight—
who cares? Have both Saint and Glaive made a lot of videos about why something in like Hoyo games was bad? Sure. Who cares? Like genuinely, like actually, like who cares though? Am I crazy for saying that? Like, who cares? Can I be honest? I don't like how he called them creatures. Like, it's so iffy. Your opinion's irrelevant because I said so. Right? It's like, okay, do you know what you want to do? How about you make videos doing the same thing, or you make videos glazing your game if you want to? Who fucking cares? Like, what? Who cares if they make videos? It's not the majority of their content. Even if it was, who cares? Genuinely, I mean that sincerely. Even if fucking every single one of Saint's videos happened to be why this thing in Hoyo was bad, who cares? Like, that would just be the content. You could just choose to ignore it.
Is that both Saint and Glaive don't even play the game they use as their main punching bag, Genshin, or at least they—
Pretty sure Saint has like a C6 Alhaitham. And I'm pretty sure Glaive's been playing Genshin for a long time too. And both these creators, that's a really poor example. Both these creators have played Genshin extensively.
Haven't played the game seriously for a long time, and don't take my word for it, here's Saint Tonta showcasing his supposed account where he hadn't touched the game in a while.
Last time I played was in May of 2024.
Here is also Saint saying that he plays the game usually for 1 to 2 hours a month.
So I guess just to talk a little bit about myself and Genshin Impact, yeah, I mean, I'm playing this game maybe, what is it, 2 hours a month, maybe 1 hour a month, something like that, a bit less.
Sure.
Now for Glaive Kyo, my proof for him not really playing the game is going to come from the fact that all his gameplay is seemingly just stolen from other channels. Searching one of the UIDs in one of these videos leads me to this channel, where the creator isn't credited in the video, and also the statement—
Are you Like, to be fair, that probably should be credited, but again, who cares?
Minty made
Like
here.
that should be credited, but like at the same time, it's like, does he have to like do his own footage? Like, it doesn't mean that he doesn't play the game. That doesn't really mean proof of anything.
And let's also talk about how painful it is to play your game daily. Genshin, your dailies take so long compared to other games. It's insane. In HSR, you can just spend your energy and be done with your dailies. In Zelda Zone Zero, you can just scratch a card, go coffee, spend your energy, and then be done with your dailies. In Wuthering Waves,
Oh, speaking of, I didn't do my dailies. I need to wait. Hang on. I'm gonna do something crazy. I'm closing War for a minute. We're gonna actually be doing pulls today. I'm not even kidding you. I'm not even kidding you. Today, just to like stir the pot, we're gonna play Genshin today. Just to stir the pot, we're gonna pull for Skirk.
you can also do the same thing. So why can't you do the same thing, Genshin? God, why does it have to be commission quests? 4 of them.
Now, if you haven't played Genshin in a while, what Glaive said may make perfect sense, but to anyone who's played Genshin in the past 2 years, ever since 4.1, Hoyoverse has added a system that gives you an alternative way to get your daily rewards called encounter points, in which you can just ignore the daily commissions by exploring the open world and doing events, and that would give you all your daily rewards. And then
Yes, but you still have to like do stuff. Rather than just do specific commissions, you still have to go and do other stuff in the game that you wouldn't maybe otherwise have to do. That's ignored. You still have to like do things.
in 4.8, they made the system even better, where even after getting all your daily rewards, encounter points will continue to stack up if you do tasks that reward them, and you're able to use these spare encounter points instantly by spending resin. So if you have a spare weekend and want to grind Genshin, you'll get tons of encounter points, and if you want to log in and use resin and log out, that will get everything done for you in the day. Even making condensed resin counts, so you can get your dailies done in under like 30 seconds in Genshin.
They're a lot easier. It also allows for a greater degree of flexibility once you're in the post-production phase. Okay, now let's do it. There are still ways to go about this style of filmmaking and it look good, but it's gonna take more time and or money to have no fixed video activity plus to avoid. So if you're not willing to put in that legwork at the beginning, planning each shot carefully and knowing exactly what you're looking for from the end.
The system Glaive is complaining about has been implemented and fixed for almost 2 years now, so Glaive either just lied to his audience to make this joke or hasn't touched the game in a while to know that the commission system is significant.
But you still have to stack the points, no? You still have to stack the points, or am I crazy? This argument doesn't work because you have to do double the next day since it only sets to 5. Okay, right, yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, you still have to, like, do... It's not like it's free. You turn up and then, like, oh, guess what? You get everything. Sage said the same thing to stack the points. Yeah, that was kind of a disingenuous way of showcasing that. Like, hey, look, you can just, like, immediately do it. Well, no, not really.
Significantly better than either.
Is it better than it was? Yeah. I will agree. It's better than it was. Absolutely. Is it better than what Glaive made it out to be? Probably, but I think this is not going too far in the direction.
The Hoyoverse games right now. And that leads me to what I'm going to say next, in which you can't criticize content or mechanics you haven't played, because you won't be able to assess its faults accurately to give any meaningful criticisms. And hell, let's look at Glaive's livestream titled Hate Watching the 5.6 livestream. Can we be honest with ourselves and acknowledge that these creators aren't going in with an open mind? They aren't even going in to see if they're going to play the content, they're just going to reach for anything that looks bad and call it the worst thing they've ever seen, to appeal to their confirmation bias that Genshin is a terrible game that does nothing right.
Oh my god, it's like being able to resurrect an artifact from
Oh,
the
you
grave.
see that? You see that? You see that? Now shut the fuck up. It got prioritized. It's
Glaive does shout a lot, bro. In all the Genshin live streams, Glaive does shout a lot. I think he does shout a lot. I mean, he does. He's being a silly, goofy guy.
still went to double defense. This game could fucking die. Fuck this game. Fuck this game.
And the funniest thing with both
it is kind of funny because like they're showing a re-rolling system, same as Honkai Star Rail, and it still rolls double defense. I mean, that is quite funny.
Got prioritized. It still went to double defense. This game could fucking die. Fuck this game. Fuck this game.
And the funniest thing with both Glaive and Saint's videos and live streams is that they constantly get things wrong, because a live stream isn't the full picture of an update. Obviously, Saint Hontus made a video reacting to Glaive's video calling 5.4 a filler patch and explaining how Genshin is making them worse over time, so let's go ahead and use this video to show how shallow the criticisms given are, as well as how much these people love to misrepresent the community.
The debate resurfaces like clockwork. Some players claim that they love these dry filler patches, say they need them. Their logic? It gives me time to catch up. They use
This is the most copium excuse I think I've ever heard in the history.
No one wants a boring fucking patch. A dead patch means I could save my primos. No one wants a boring patch. Every time Wuwa has a quote-unquote boring patch, we all fucking shit on it. It's fucking nothing to do. Even at the fucking anniversary, people are like, it's fucking boring. That's okay. Hey, guess what? It's fine. It's fine to be honest and say, hey, a dead patch fucking sucks and it's boring. That's okay. That's fine. That's okay to say. If the next patch is going to be good and more interesting, fine. But it's totally okay to be like, yeah, this patch is kind of stinks. What's wrong with that?
Of gacha games.
I can say that. I can say that about Wuwa. They're all fucking stinky patches. Who cares?
The copium excuse is, well, this filler patch is actually great because now I have so much extra time to save for all my newest waifus or all my newest characters. Now, I just simply don't have to play the game on this patch, or I don't have to play the game that much.
Yippee, playing the game less. Yay!
And the thing is, if you're at the point where you're justifying a lackluster or content drought patch by saying, now I don't have to play the game as much, what does that even mean? Now at this point, you're happy that you don't have to play the game, or you're happy that there's less stuff to do in the game, and that's just such an...
I mean, he's right. That's literally what I'm saying. Like, bro's just kind of, he's just kind of right, no? That's just kind of true.
Odd thing to have, unless you're like a completely like whipped player that's just taking whatever the company's going to give you. It's the worst one I've ever seen, and it's such a popular one for such a strange reason.
Before even getting into what they say about Genshin, can we first discuss how disingenuously that statement was portrayed? First, it has less than 1,000 upvotes in one of the biggest gaming subreddits, which I'm sure Glaive cut out for totally good reasons. Second, it's from a year ago, which if this was the only example you could find, shows how this isn't a sentiment widely accepted in the community. And the title of the Reddit post is literally unpopular opinion.
No, it's definitely parroted by many people. Whenever there's a criticisms around dead patches, it comes up all the time. Like, oh, it's okay, I can save my resources. It's a thing people say all the time. You have to be kind of dumb not to see this whenever dead patches gets like talked about. It happens every single time.
It goes against what a majority of the community thinks. Then if you actually like read the Reddit post, they aren't happy that they don't have to log into the game. They are happy because they're able to go back and play more of the older content they missed out on, because they were busy with real life stuff. Because, you know, people actually do things outside of playing gacha games and don't have time to do all the permanent content that releases in a patch as they come out.
They use this downtime to clear story quests they ignored for months, finish exploring the 75% of the map they barely touched, or finally build that character they pulled 6 banners ago but never.
It's fair to say, right, that having issues like, oh, now I get time to do all the story quests that I wasn't going to do before, doesn't that just mean that the story quests might just take too fucking long?
Or maybe they just weren't good to begin with. Because even when the quote-unquote good patches have content, you do all the content, and then you have nothing else to do anyway, for like weeks sometimes. So why couldn't you go and do all the stuff that you missed previously? The quests you didn't do. Anything else you didn't do. If you didn't do it then, what makes you think you're gonna go and do it now either? Like, if you didn't want to do it in the first place, are you really going to ever do it or want to do it? Probably not.
They're so unwieldy, they're so unfun, there's something that nobody actually wants to do, and that only occurs, right, because the devs in their design of these quests make them as obtuse, annoying, and lengthy as possible. So it's like creating a problem, right, with the quests
I still have most of the companion and side quests doing more, I guess they're shit. No, I'm not saying that they would be shit. I'm saying it's something that you don't particularly care to do. So if there's a dead patch in Wuwa, I doubt you're still going to do it then. Right? If you're not doing it now, you're probably not as likely to do it even if there's a dead patch either. I'm not saying that it's shit. Just saying that you just probably don't want to fucking do them.
Playable. And then also give the solution of a filler patch so that people have time to play these unplayable quests. Amazing. Wow. Incredible. What a solution. Hats off to the devs for that.
Most story quests in Genshin are around 2 to 3 hours long or shorter, which seems to be about the same length as most companion quests in Wuwa. Once again, the quests released could have simply been put off because people are busy in real life. If you actually read the post Glaive is referencing, it literally states that they're excited to play the quests, not that they feel like they're being forced to do so.
I would say that Hoyoverse is kind of like at their limit. I would say they're kind of like at their peak in terms of where the design is going. You just have to look at the character releases in Natlan and how they're like, they seem so out of the ordinary, so outside of the box when it comes to creativity. Like, what is the reason for like full bodysuit latex like motorcycle people in the same region as like denim booty shorts DJ, and then like fish riding girl who like uses the maracas? It's like, it's such an odd combination of a.
I mean, he's not wrong either. Like, I think we've all thought this, right? Bro, it's only been 10 minutes. I'm like, what's wrong with that statement? Like, actually, why? The design choices behind Natlan is so odd. It's so odd. Like, you could take other regions, right, of Genshin, and they do it better. Inazuma, Fontaine, Sumeru, they all take the design philosophies make sense, but with Natlan it doesn't, right? It fucking doesn't. Like, Natlan, it doesn't. You have your different like tribes and stuff, but like, you still it's still one area, it's still one place. Yeah, Natlan isn't cohesive. It's not. It feels like multiple different things meshed together. It doesn't have like an overall theme. It feels like Graffiti Mountain.
Aesthetics where you just feel like the devs are quite literally just throwing random shit at the wall to see what works, and that to me is a sign that they are losing ideas, that they're like losing motivation on the design side. And it's pretty clear because Natlan just looks like a random combination of fucking the most absurd pop culture references you've ever seen. Like, Kanish has like pixelated art. Like, what is it? Like, what is it supposed to be at the end of the day?
It's funny because regarding the Natlan designs, he quite literally points out to the theme of Natlan's more traditional looking aesthetics being mixed with modernization, and there are lore reasons for this as well. The ancient dragons were a civilization very close to Natlan that, as shown and documented in the world quests, used phlogiston to power extremely advanced technologies, but they died out. Since they were powered by phlogiston, only some of the current humans can utilize them, like the Natlan cast. And then there's Shalonen, who's one of the most renowned blacksmiths of Natlan's age, who's working off of the groundworks of the ancient dragons, which is what built things like Malvika's motorcycle, which if you never
electric guitars and motorcycles from the big power the dragons had. Ah! Bitch, this woman's never seen a motorcycle in her life. How does she know how to build one? Yeah. How does she fucking know what an electric guitar would be like when she never seen one? The Ender Dragon, they had the power, that they died, and this woman is really good, so he made a lot of things with the power. And only some people can use the power because it's all the way that it is. Blah, 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 blah. But the Ender Dragon, what the fuck? That's the most retarded thing I've ever heard. That is the most retarded thing. The ancient dragons had power, therefore we have DJs and motorcycles. Ah, that's why she wears a leather fucking outfit. What the fuck am I listening to? Stop. That's actually so fucking funny. Bro, that is so... I have to listen to that again. That is so fucking funny.
Designs, he quite literally points out to the theme of Natlan's more traditional looking aesthetics being mixed with modernization, and there are lore reasons for this as well. The ancient dragons were a civilization very close to Natlan that, as shown and documented in the world quests, used phlogiston to power extremely advanced technologies, but they died out. Since they were powered by phlogiston, only some of the current humans can utilize them, like the Natlan cast. And then there's Shalonen, who's one of the most renowned blacksmiths of Natlan's age, who's working off of the groundworks of the ancient dragons, which is what built things.
Are we really saying that fucking ancient dragons powered fucking electric guitars? Brother, hang on, wait, this is Natlan in the past. Wait, hang on. hang on. Oh my god, no, we have to, bro. It's happening. Hold up. I need a Genshin dragon. This is Natlan according to yep. The dragons did it. Pull the dragon of dirt for shits and giggles. This is Natlan in the ancient dragon times. This is ancient dragon times, by the way. Is that the dragons that got controlled by some trash mage enemy? Yeah, it's Devon at the beginning of the game. Did we ever see... do you ever see any dragons in Natlan, by the way? I think you do once for a world quest, but I don't remember. In side quests, some dragons, but not sovereigns. Those Pokemons. Bro, how can you be the nation of dragons and not have dragons? Abep. Like, the thing is, what Flop is saying might not be wrong, but it's retarded. Right? Like, the actual reasoning, he might be right, but the reasoning is retarded. That's not really his fault. It's the problem with the...
It's a mix of modernization.
He shouldn't be defending terrible writing, but here we are, story of the Hoyo community. Right. It's like, let's defend terrible fucking writing. Bro, even the fucking Genshin devs admit that their writing kinda sucked. Oh my god, wait, are they learning? Actually tell story through gameplay rather than reading. They literally just said that. Wait. Open this and don't show it on stream? Bro, then don't link it to me if it's not safe to show on stream, you daft bastard. Don't send me a link if I can't open it on stream, you fucking silly bin. It's porn? Timers, why did you send me porn? Brother, you can see her nipples! Brother, you can see her nipples, that is porn! I don't know if you can show this on stream. It literally fucking shows her areolas. You need a magnifying glass. Bro, you can see the areolas! What do you mean a magnifying glass? They're huge! Why are you sending me actual porn? Holy fucking shit. Jesus Christ, dude.
It's because it's made up of humans who've rebuilt their nation.
Can we stop sharing porn links in my chat? You silly bastards.
While trying to tap into an ancient, more advanced civilization that they don't fully understand, which is why only some of the people in the nation have elements of it. And of course, the characters Genshin want us to play are going to be the special people that can tap into phlogiston much easier, obviously. And if you're wondering why Natlan hasn't just...
Yeah, and that's why they could just like recreate... It's like... It just doesn't make sense. If you can make a motorcycle, you can make electric guitars, all this kind of like advanced technology, but yet you're still... Nothing else around you is kind of representative of that like advancement of technology. It just seems a bit weird. Like, I can understand it, like, oh, we had an ancient civilization who had a lot of technology and power, and now, you know, everything kind of got reversed. Now we're starting from scratch and we're building back up from where we were. But you literally go from like 0 to 100, but that 100 is just random pieces of technology, like a motorbike or a guitar. It's not like you're building stuff up around you as time goes on to build yourself back up again. It's like, no, oh, let me just pull an electric guitar out of my ass. It doesn't make sense. You know what I mean? Like, it doesn't make sense. Like, if you could do all these things with the technology you've refound, because that is an interesting concept. I like that idea. Ancient civilization, very advanced technology, a lot of shit happened, now we have to start from the beginning again. We find bits and pieces throughout the years to build ourselves back up again. But you literally go from like nothing to here's an electric guitar. Oh yeah, but also we can't make anything else to kind of better our people. It just doesn't really make any fucking sense.
full steam ahead dived into modernization, we get an explanation in Chaska's quest that the mass production of phlogiston-based technology can only come at the cost of harming Saurians, which the people of Natlan with morals don't want to do. So yeah, there's this amazing YouTube channel Nichirin that's been diving deep and explaining the lore and cultural significance of all the Natlan designs, and how they're not really that out of place and quite coherent with the inspirations, and I would advise looking at their channel to anyone who's genuinely interested in why Natlan characters look the way they do.
But let's get something straight, filler patches aren't just a minor inconvenience, they actively harm the game. People say, oh, it gives us time to catch up. No, that's just coping. These updates aren't designed to respect your time, they're designed to waste it. Filler patches recycle old content and stall the narrative. Instead of meaningful additions, we get rerun events, time-gated fetch quests, and lore drops that barely add anything. Imagine.
So with this in mind, how does any of that apply to version 5.4? Because at the time of Dumb and Dumber's video release, the update wasn't out yet to know whether or not it
Dumb and Dumber's release. Oh, okay, so now he's shitting on people too. Oh, got it.
fixes the issues you're mentioning. Can you point to where in the live stream there's recycled old content? Where are the recycled events? Because besides the Leyline event, which is just the double drops that happens like every patch, all the events in 5.4 were unique. Where are the time-gated fetch quests too? None of those things happened. And in hindsight, saying that 5.4 was going to have lore drops that barely add anything is crazy. When it concluded most of the mysteries left from Raiden's backstory in Inazuma with her friends, giving her a much better conclusion, as well as expanding on the lore with the Inazuman yokai, which was largely a mystery. Then there was the amazing character anecdote event where you could just talk to most of the older characters and see how their journeys progressed, or how they're going about their lives for anyone that hasn't been the main focus of a quest in a while, giving us more character interactions as well as heartfelt moments like Chi-Chi and Yayo discussing their friendship and how Yayo deals with the hardships of Chi-Chi's memory loss. This update gave us some of the best inter-character moments and expanded on the world of Genshin while ironing out most of the holes left in the Inazuma region in 2 amazing events, as well as Mizuki's story quest, which is also a banger. And if you think it's unfair to talk about the patch in hindsight, sure, but that goes to show just how you can't assess content before it comes out. This video was useless, as even going over the rest of the things said, it talks about nothing because again, the patch was unreleased at the time. It's just mindless doom posting poisoning people's perception of the patch before it's even out, which could have stirred people away from an experience they may have enjoyed otherwise if they weren't told.
No, I disagree with that, because I'll be real, people who like Genshin Impact and want to play the patch aren't gonna watch Glaive's video and suddenly change their mind, right? Like, people who are like excited to play Genshin and want to do all the content aren't gonna watch Glaive's video and be like, yeah, I'm not gonna do it now. That's just not going to happen. That is, I don't think Glaive is steering any particular person away from Genshin. I think Glaive makes content for people who already don't play Genshin. I'm gonna be real. I think that's what this is. No one who plays Genshin watches Glaive's content and changes their mind. I do just think it just reinforces people who already don't play. They weren't gonna play anyway, so who cares?
Told it's a filler patch not worth their time.
Think storytelling mid, combat mid, events mid, even the character designs mid. If Hoyoverse can push out bare minimum update and still make millions, what incentive do they have to innovate?
Is this it? Is this the mind-breaking criticisms Hoyoverse is supposed to use to make their game better? Or this?
Only in Genshin, where they are still making the savior of nation run food deliveries. That's right.
You know, the food delivery event from 5 years ago where they took the feedback and didn't make an event similar to that premise again? If you have to reach from things that far back to call Genshin in its current state bad, maybe Genshin has actually improved over time. We are in version 5.6 of Genshin currently, with Skirk one of the most important characters.
Bro, he's talking about commissions willfully ignorant. Why are we missing the point? Why? Yeah, instead of like food delivery, it's like something else. I remember like in Fontaine, there was one where like you had to go take like pictures of something. I'm pretty sure there was something about like taking pictures. I can't remember. It's been a fucking while since I actually bothered to play like any kind of events. I'll be real, even when fucking Woowa does like really dumb events, I don't like them either. I think they're just fucking time wasters. This video is dog shit. Hi Ethan, hello, hi.
Characters to the lore coming up, and every Genshin patch so far has been amazing. Except for version 5.1. We might even...
Flop has made a career on shitting on people, and bro got caught and is now like, I don't care. Bro did the same thing he hates. Oh, exactly. Bro has become the person that he criticizes.
Be getting another map expansion with the Mara Javari. At this point in every other Genshin version, there hasn't been that much to do, but the lore drops and teasers we've been getting have been fueling the community discussions, when usually there would be a drought by now. This is the longest a Genshin version has stayed relevant, so why are the people claiming they want Genshin to improve not discussing this? It's almost like videos in this nature are purely performative and don't offer anything valuable to the discussion. Now for the rest of Glaive's video, he goes on to discuss how Wuthering Waves filler patches are better than Genshin, and preemptively defends the fishing minigame in Wuwa and discussing how much depth it has, while something like the TCG in Genshin is the worst thing to grace the earth, even though they're basically just both disconnected minigames, away from the game's main gameplay loop. And
No, I'm pretty. No. Wait. Whoa. Every time I fucking log on to Genshin, I'm bombarded by notifications about TCG. I don't get that with Wuwa. It's just a little side event that you have to go search for and find to replay or do or finish. The Invocation TCG, you always get fucking notifications to do stuff with it. Like every time. He also posted that Saint called him a file. Huh? Saint proceeds to call me a file like twice in his stream with constant ad hominems and strawmans. Saint called him a nonce. Oh. That's fucking so fucking funny. That's so fucking funny, dude. That's hilarious. That's fucking hilarious. That's hilarious. Oh my fucking god. Does someone have a clip of that? Does someone have a fucking clip of that? Say calling someone a fucking nonce? I never thought I'd hear the day that that would ever be a thing that he would ever say. That's so fucking funny. That's so fucking funny. Bro, I've spoken to Saint a lot. I'm surprised he didn't know that. Or like, I never mentioned that to him or something. That's so funny. That's so fucking funny. Oh my fucking god. Oh my god. He did like 3 times? That's so fucking funny. Do you know what? You know what? Fuck it. Hey, just stick with it. Stick with it. Fuck it. Oh, I mean, was gonna start calling Flop a nonce, brother. That's so funny. Oh, that's so fucking funny, dude. Oh my god, I'm dying. I'm dying. I'm dying. I'm dying. I'm dying. Oh, that's so funny. Oh, that's made my day. Oh, that's made my day. Oh, that's made my day. That's made my fucking day. That's made my day. That's so funny. I'm sorry. I just think that's funny. I just think, obviously, Flop isn't a pedophile, but calling someone a nonce is just so fucking funny. Bro, like, in the UK, even, like, you might call your friend a fucking nonce. It's like, obviously, they're not a pedophile, but it's just like, oh, shut, you're just, bro, you act like a fucking nonce. Bro, it's just like a term that gets thrown around. It's a term that gets thrown around just to like be a shithead to someone. It's just like funny. Like, you're not actually being like, oh, you're a pedo. Like, nah, it's just that you fucking nonce, right? And it's not even your friends though, but just like other people. Like, it's just the thing. It's not. Yeah, obviously, he shouldn't have said that to him. Obviously, he shouldn't have said that. I just think it's hilarious that he didn't know what it meant. That's so funny.
In regards to Genshin, these people never really liked the game at all, and even if Genshin improves to meet all of their standards, they still wouldn't play it, or claim that the changes have come too late, just as a way to downplay any progress Genshin can make. They fundamentally just don't like Genshin, and that's honestly okay, but when they bullshit and lie about how much they care about the game and use it to fuel negativity towards it, that's when it becomes a problem, especially when it's done in such a destructive way that benefits no one. Can you imagine if someone fell off in Genshin towards like the end of Sumeru, and when they wanted to get back back into Genshin, they see a video like this. A video filled...
Okay. I might have a really hot take. I need to be really careful with what I'm about to say. I think you can't trust any content creator who makes primarily content around a couple of games. I don't think you can necessarily, because that's what they do. Even me, right? Do you know what I mean? I don't think you could truly trust any content creator. Every single content creator that posts content majorly about a couple of games or certain types of games, you can never fully trust, because what's their incentive to like make anything or do anything, right? For example, I mainly make videos about Wuthering Waves. So when stuff happens about Woowa, I will talk about it more, because it's what I make most of my videos about. That's just a reality of a situation. Does that mean I'm untrustworthy? No, I don't think it makes it untrustworthy. But if there's a reason why content creators care more about making content of games, it's because that's just what they do. But I can guarantee for most creators, as soon as they're not making content on the games, they don't really care as much as they think they care about the games. This goes for every single creator. For every single creator, right? And it's why, like, I don't really tend to play. I tend to make videos like once a day about something that's going on. But on my streams are kind of different. I kind of do whatever I want on my streams, right? I'll actually do what I want to do on my streams. And my videos are like mainly wooer stuff, because that's what my audience wants to see. You can't trust content creators, really, ever. Any of them. Don't trust any of them. I'm being so real. Don't trust any. It's like, I feel like looking at like someone's stream is also like an interesting way of judging by what kind of like stuff they genuinely like doing. At least for me anyway. I will only stream stuff that I really want to do. Especially don't trust people in London. Sure. Reacting is the meta about games and not playing them. I agree.
With so much doom posting and lies and...
Because you have to remember, right, that a lot of every commentary channel, whatever it is, people playing these games, everyone's doing it for a purpose, right? Everyone's incentivized. While everyone's complaining about this creator's talking shit about that game, this creator's like glazing this game. Do you know who's making the bag? The fucking creators making the content.
Information. They would never want to touch the game because they don't think it's progressed ever, and then they can go on to parrot this information, fueled by any of the feelings they may have had when they left the game, and they can go and spread that around, just creating a cycle of misinformation. When again, going into 5.x, I think it's the best Genshin has ever been gameplay wise, and that's why I think content like this is so damaging. And if you want more proof for the misinformation being spread and how these content creators are weaponizing your passion for these games, then just stick around, as with the introduction done, we can get into the meat of the video.
That was an introduction? That was not a... Bro, hello? Bro needs to go read a book or study a media class or fucking something. That is not an introduction. Brother, what are we doing? That was not an intro. Are we dumb? Like, what are we doing? Hoyo shields don't exist. Oh my fucking god, here we go.
The term Hoyoshil, as I understand it, is often thrown around to anyone who plays Hoyoverse games and blindly defends the company's practices, just because they really enjoy the games. And at face value, yes, that definition makes sense. No one should let their enjoyment of a product blind them from any predatory practices the company may be doing. But the thing is, nowadays, the term doesn't really mean anything, and if you just play any Hoyoverse game at all, even if you are critical of it, you just become a Hoyoshil. Glaive somehow tries to paint Zjef, of all people, as a Hoyoshil or Genshin defender who doesn't talk about the negatives of the game, despite the fact that as an expert in Jeffology here, I know I've made poor life decisions. Zjef is one of the most critical creators about Genshin and discourages its predatory practices, so much so that...
Okay, brother, you've made the point worse. You've made the point worse. Continuing to play and make content about games that you actively criticize and maybe kind of don't like to a certain degree is the most shield thing you can fucking do. Holy fuck! Are you retarded? Are you actually dumb? Are we actually dumb? Are we, bro, making content about a game that you say you hate? Why? Because the bag is too fucking good and that's your audience. Bro, that is a holy fuck! Are we dumb? That is the worst example he could have actually brought. That is fucking insane.
that he often overanalyzes character weaknesses in order to try and remove the FOMO people may have towards newer units, and he constantly encourages using 4-star alternatives instead of trying to get premium units. So if someone like Zajef is a Hoyo shill, then literally who isn't? If you're just positive about Hoyoverse in any light or critical of Wuwa, you're now a Hoyo shill. It's why Legion's Gaming can go on and ask if the HSR 3.2 quest was playing, someone responds being positive about 3.2, talking about why they liked it, and then despite asking for reasons to play HSR, Legion will berate someone giving their opinion on the patch and label.
I said not a Hoyoshill's opinion, story is perfection is enough for me to know that you have no idea what a good story is if you think that slop is perfection.
Labeling them as a Hoyo shill just for enjoying the game. And the funniest part about this is that
he didn't even do that
on the patch, and labeling them as a Hoyo shill just for enjoying the game. And the funniest part about this is that he hasn't even played the update to know whether it's good or bad or not. It was just made by Hoyoverse, therefore bad. Or when people are critical of
No, that's so disingenuous. He didn't like the other story around it. He already had a bad impression of the story.
Anniversary, instead of the EN Wuwa community wanting to address its issues and discuss them rationally, anyone who doesn't like the Annie or is being too critical of it, going by this tweet that blew up in one of the biggest Wuwa communities, is an ex-Genshin player or Hoyo shill. So if you've just played Genshin before, you can't be critical of Wuwa, even if you've quit Genshin and are currently playing Wuwa. So I ask you, what does this term even mean at this point, or what weight does it hold when essentially anyone can just be labeled as one? It's just become a buzzword to immediately create division with anyone that isn't on the Wuwa hype train in order for it to be made easier to attack someone, because if these people aren't actually Hoyo shills, then it means having to actually critically engage with what they're saying and address any potential shortcomings of Wuwa. But if you can just label them as a Hoyo shill, then instead of actually having a discussion, you can just go and clown on them for being a Hoyo shill and ignore problems people may have with the game.
Okay, proof? Bro's just saying words. A lot of this video, I'm literally just thinking, who the fuck cares? Like, are we gonna piss our pants when we get called, when you get called Hoishas or Kurobots? I'll call myself a fucking Kurobot. I called myself a fucking Kurobot. Bro, are we really gonna piss our pants over fucking nicknames?
Which, funnily enough, is the exact same toxic positivity the Genshin Impact fanbase had, and this will hurt the community in the long term, because whenever people want to rally behind issues, instead of everyone
also, I was he talking about 2.3 because I'm pretty fucking sure so many people said 2.3 fucking sucked. How many people said 2.3 sucked? So many people said that. So many creators said that. So many people said 2.3 sucked. I said 2.3 fucking sucked. What are we saying? What are we fucking saying? It was very mid. Exactly. Where is this coming from?
Being able to focus their efforts to get the devs to notice them. Most of the discourse will just be about filtering out all the Hoyo shills, which is not helpful at all. And if you want to see just how deeply this Hoyo shill fear-mongering has spread, shall we discuss a very specific group? A few months ago, St. Tontus made a video discussing the Zhan, the XJJ group, which is a very pro-Hoyoverse faction that apparently congregated together to mass report the opposition's games like Wuwa, and how they were apparently responsible for Wuwa temporarily having a 16+ rating, with the source being this one wiki page and this.
Yeah, I'll be real. The Zhan XJJ thing, I had weird doubts about as well, because of the sourcing, because we actually went to look at the sources ourselves. I don't know. It's not something that I would take as a grain of salt, and I do think it's not the best thing to be like, no, this is the reason why ratings are happening. I didn't really accept that analysis of that whole situation personally. I think it could definitely be a theory, and if you leave it as that, it's okay to be called a theory. I just think it's not okay to label that as fact as why it was happening. That I don't agree with, but I don't think Saint ever did that. I don't think he ever painted it as a fact.
This random person on Twitter. But a couple of things. The Twitter page St. Tontus is using as a reference doesn't even mention this incident. He found two separate sources, one of which was about Kuro being last reported, and the other being on the XJJ, and he's making a conspiracy theory based off of this, trying to link them when there's no evidence at all that points to this.
And so with that, hopefully we provided all the context, we provided all the glue. I just want to clarify that, of course, this is just a theory, if that wasn't close enough. If I haven't stated that enough, it is just a theory for what is going on, but a lot lot of the pieces are fitting, and we've already seen a lot of behavior like this already when it comes to tarnishing the reputation of this game. And
then I decided to look more into this Echo Retro Twitter user, in which they have a pinned tweet with their sources on the XJJ, which if you look at the first link is an outdated wiki page that seemingly hasn't been updated for a while. And if you look at the site, it's a wiki specifically for internet groups in China that, as with all wikis, anyone is able to use or submit. And if you look at the language used on this page, it comes off as quite unprofessional, on top of the fact that it also doesn't really cite any sources and just lists certain events that have occurred without any way of further looking into these incidents. There's also a clear bias against the group with this language, which leads me to believe that someone was maybe trolled by this group, spurring them into making this wiki post. But there is very little substantial evidence in this wiki at all, on top of the fact that it seems to be outdated, and even looking at the information provided, some of this stuff is very confusing. The first paragraph states that there's estimated to being over 20,000 members of the XJJ, but then later on the QQ group, which is like Discord, has over 30,000 members, and then they say there's propaganda and harassment channels in the server that all members.
Conclusion: are there channels like this out in China? Yes. Are they probably very pro Hoyo? Yes. Will they probably mass report things at times? Sure. Okay. That's the takeaway. That's literally the takeaway. There are multiple different groups consisting of a lot of different people who maybe don't like other games that aren't Hoyo or are very pro Hoyo, and will they take action sometimes on things? Sure, I could believe that. So what's the point being proven now?
Have access to, but actually if you go back a few paragraphs, there's only around 500 people involved with the doxing and harassment, some of which can be also the same person, but there's also private QQ groups that we don't.
Oh yes, only 500.
Information on this page being poorly documented, as again there's no evidence or citations I can find in the page. So unless you're someone who's very involved with the CN community, I doubt that you can really know what they're doing. Now going back to the pinned tweet, the second link is an actual well-documented incident.
I used to be part of the Love and Deep Space community. And I'm telling you right now, the CN community for certain gacha games can be fucking vicious. They can be vicious. They will take things and they will tear you down. Listen, I was exiled from that bloody community. Positively exiled. I'm telling you, the CN will like rip you up.
Where Hoyoverse may have tried to support some of the XJJ's horrible doxing actions in HSR by using the names of the victims in one of the quests, which if this is true, which does very much seem like the case, is of course a terrible thing to do, and whoever wrote this quest in support of the doxing can go fuck themselves, and my heart goes out to all the victims affected. If you want more information on this, I'll leave a link in the description below. But now for the last link. It's supposedly about people exposing members of the XJJ for being horrible people or whatever, but if you just open the link, I shit you not, it's just Chinese Reddit for Wu with the typical memes and commentary you would see anywhere else. So what about this has to do with the XJJ apparently trying to harm or hurt Kuro Games? And the funniest thing about all of this is that this Twitter account isn't even from a CN player. This is someone in the EN community who watches and interacts with St. Tontis. They have no idea what the CN landscape is like. This part of the Wuwa community seems to be unable to recognize that people might just actually have problems with the game and not be Hoyoverse players. And this is the audience that people like St. Tontis and Glaive Kyo foster that bleeds into hurting the entire gacha space. This
is probably maybe the one thing I'll agree with Flop on the most, even though I don't really want to agree with him. I did think the whole XJJ thing was like kind of like odd. I did think it was kind of odd at the time it was happening, and I made it very clear when I was covering it that I didn't agree with the fact that I think this is like the reason why Wuwa got attacked or had age ratings changed or anything like that. I made that very clear that I didn't agree with it or believe it.
4 years ago, some Genshin designs had to be censored. We still don't really know what caused this, and it could just be a freak case where Wuwa's rise in popularity leads to the CCP wanting to look at the game with more scrutiny, like with the majority of things getting censored in China. I doubt Nikkei was brigaded by Hoyo shills, but when the game went to CN servers, a lot of the designs and story elements were censored just because of CCP regulations. This could also be the same case for Wuwa, and I think it's more likely than the XJJ colluding together to get Wuwa's age rating up. And now, because of terrible unverified sources and a bunch of conspiracy conspiracy theories, what actually happened is never going to be really addressed, and it can all be blamed on these Hoyo shells for doing something there's no actual proof of. And not only that, but Kuro Games was recently the victim of a hacking attempt, and Saint Tontas goes and makes another video chalking this up to being the XJJ. But what is absolutely comical is that a Chinese police investigation reveals that this was a large-scale overseas attack. You know, on a large scale as in a bunch of incels in the room probably couldn't do this, and overseas as in not Chinese and therefore not from the XJJ, as Saints try to portray this as. Companies get targeted by hackers all the time for various different reasons. This isn't a unique thing, nor does it need to.
Yeah, okay. Okay, like, we'll never know or not know. That vid was so badly made by saying he said it was a theory, but it didn't make sense at all. VPNs exist though. Yeah, you could have VPNs, whatever. I'll be real, I don't care. I don't care. Sure. Like, I'll be real, I don't fucking care.
To have a personal motive like being a crazy Hoyo shill. All the hack has shown is that there was a vulnerability with Kuro Games apparently, and hackers tried to exploit this. And unless further evidence is uncovered by this police report, that is all you can draw from it. And in general, as far as I know, there is no evidence of the XJJ actually doing something damaging to Wuwa. And the reason why someone
I haven't seen the video that he's referring to from Satan, nor is he bringing up any like kind of fucking receipts about it, so like I don't really know what to think.
Wants to paint Hoyoverse and their players as the enemy and act like Wuwa or Kuro Games are being attacked is because if people think Kuro Games is being wrongfully attacked, they're obviously going to want to defend the company and the game against the attackers. It also again goes back to the term Hoyo shill because
I like he just said a bunch of stuff and then didn't provide any receipts. That was really cool of him.
now people in the Wuwa community now have a justification to hate people who play Hoyoverse games because these horrible Hoyo shills attacked first, and then that's going to make Hoyoverse players obviously fight back, feeding into the gacha tribalism that Saint benefits from, as it's what his content revolves around. Kuro Games has to be this victim or underdog to justify all the methods of supporting it and the hate against Hoyo players, as it makes it look like they are punching down. That is the reason for the term Hoyo shill. It's to lump all the crazy
bro didn't bring any glue
in with the people that just play the game, as well as screen out anyone that has criticisms of Wuwa to just be a Hoyo shill and shun them out of conversations. These creators will literally champion the death and torture of animals that deranged individuals have done.
Know firsthand how absurdly unhinged the CN part of the Genshin player base can be. We know all about how they did things like cats that look like Scaramouche, how they've
doing everything except playing your own game, from VA's harassment, bomb threats, killing animals,
and tried to lump every person that just likes Genshin or Hoyo games in with them, despite the fact.
Is it wrong to bring up the extremism of some communities? Is that so bad? Is that so bad to kind of like remember, hey, look how far some people are willing to go for their cause? I don't think it's that fucking bad. I think actually that's okay to remind people to do.
Fact that no sane human would agree to these actions, and the Genshin community was extremely vocal about how horrible situations like these were, and I wish that part of the Wuthering Waves community that defends
it's
these
still
content creators
generalizing. I don't think anyone has ever said the Hoyo community is okay with like killing cats. No one has said every Genshin player is okay with this kind of thing. No one is saying that. I feel like every time that's been brought up, it's been talking about extremists. Like, hey, you know, these people have done this kind of thing in the past. It's therefore reasonable to assume they could do something equally as bad in the future at some point. Never generalize a group based on fraction of extremists, but no one's been doing that though. No one's generalizing a whole group of people and saying, oh, yeah, they're also likely to do this whole thing too. Like, no one is saying that. Because we don't think of like a typical quote-unquote Hoyo show that just really enjoys fucking Hoyo games, right? And thinks, oh, they're okay with cat killing. No one's fucking thinks that or does that. No one. People are scared of Hoyo shows in China. Every Hoyo player is okay with assassination because that one guy tried to knife Dawei. The only generalization I've heard from Genshin is that it's the Diddy game. I enjoy Hoyo games and I'm definitely not cool with that. Right, exactly. I don't think anyone is saying that, oh yeah, these Hoyo shows are okay with cat killing. No one is saying that. Absolutely name me a creator who has said that or tried to imply that. I don't think that's ever happened.
Realize that they're trying to get you mad at these people they're making up in order to hone you to attack anyone that is pro Hoyo or not pro Kuro. If you tell someone that the thing they like is garbage, that is going to make them want to say the same thing back, which just creates this stupid cycle of blaming each other for attacking them first. And at this point, it doesn't matter who attacked who first. If you wanted to stop, you have to be the change you want to see in the community and stop it yourself. If someone says
that's why I'm making an hour-long video doing the exact same thing. That's why I'm making a video doing the exact same thing. Yay. Wow. Wow, I'm so funny. I'm so funny. Yippee. Yippee.
Genshin is bad and you should feel bad for playing it. Saying Wuthering Waves is just as bad in return will not make the other person back down. It will make them want to shit on Genshin more. And then people will see this discourse and just jump in with their own opinions on what game is better than the other, while slandering the
Chat, someone tell me something bad about Woowa. Apparently this is how we'll Woowa CCs deal with this sort of stuff. Oh yeah, someone tell me something about Woowa that you don't like. 1.0 story, son. How can you do that? The lore was actually so deep. You know what? Genshin sucks. Genshin's story is also bad. That's how they think that we all act. Simple, horrible anniversary. No, the anniversary was actually really good. You see all the pulls you were able to get, and you had the choice to pick any character you wanted to and pull for them. Oh my god. By the way, do you know that Genshin anniversary sucked too? Woo, optimization on mid to low end device sucks ass. No, actually, it's really fine. It's okay. The stuttering is totally okay. Full stop weapons suck dick in a major way. I don't know, you know, but Overture and a variation are some of the most used weapons on other people's accounts. Even people who like spend money on the game so use Overture and variation. So you say that the full stop weapons suck is bad. I don't think, bro, this is actually hurting my brain. This is actually hurting my brain. 2.3 daily experience, 1.0 in general. Cap, are you saying you don't like getting your dick sucked? No, what do I actually think about everything? Too much men in the game? No, I need more men, actually. I'll be real. Kuro could suck my dick. I want more men in the game. Why? Because I want to see more abs and like man titties in my fucking game. 1.0 story sucks. Yeah, it does actually fucking suck. I'll be real. I'll be real. 1.0 fucking sucked dick. I didn't like it. It was not good. Negative statuses and how they made teams so bad without all the pieces. You know, I actually have a hot take about that. I don't think negative statuses is as bad as people are making it out to be. I saw a post on Twitter about it like this morning that I was going to respond to, but I thought, nah, I think I might wait, get my thoughts in order a bit more, because I don't really think negative statuses are implemented like too bad right now. Do I think it's great? No, but I don't think it's like this, like the fucking devil like some people are making it out to be. More men? Blasphemy. Carousels and 1 more 4 stars. As someone who started playing Wuthering Anniversary 1.0 is so ass. There's also typos and shitty translation everywhere in Hong Long. Name one man. Obama.
And its games positively. So let's actually talk about the Hoyoverse contract, shall we?
Contract misinfo.
So one of the notions I've seen spread around about Genshin content creators who are mostly positive about the game is that they are put under contractual obligation to do so, or that the Genshin creator contracts that Hoyoverse put out in general are extremely predatory and harmful to creators. With this resurfacing due to Tectone's video on Hoyoverse contracts a few months back now.
Is that now I'm going to show you yet another creator talking about this. I am now going to show you 5 more creators confirming that this is real. And there's even many creators who are transparent that they are on this, and I will still receive comments that there is not a fake positivity issue in Genshin Impact because they are trying to secure a bag.
I'm kind of realizing now how long this video has taken me to make, because in my script this said recent, which it's not at all now. But regarding Tectone's video, I think you can see where this is going, but let's first show the contract documented in the video.
The contract, 10 plus YouTube videos per month, live streaming exceeding 30 hours per month.
Which, yeah, this is one of the worst contracts I've ever seen. Quite literally a slave contract. And I will admit something, this is a real contract. It isn't a Hoyoverse contract though. A few days before this video went live, I actually received this contract as well. And I'm not going to tell you what game or company it's from, but it's not a Hoyoverse game and it's not from a Hoyo. But don't take my word for it, even in the tweet Tectone shows, there's no mention of it being a Hoyoverse contract. This was just a lie. And as someone who has lots of friends that are Genshin creators that are actually on Hoyoverse contracts, they look nothing like this. Hell, even the person who tweeted this not only commented on Techno's video saying it wasn't a Hoyoverse contract, but he also
Hoyoverse themselves don't always like put out contracts. Usually these companies will have a different agency that will then distribute out contracts and deals. That's the thing. You have other agencies that work on behalf of the company to reach out to creators, whatever, and make those deals. It's not like Mihoyo themselves. It goes for so many other companies as well. It's like a middleman. It's a third party. So this doesn't really make sense.
Then tweeted at Tectone saying that it wasn't a Hoyoverse contract, with this tweet gaining more traction than the original post Tectone showed. But Tectone, to my knowledge, on his videos or tweets has never acknowledged the fact that this being a Hoyo contract wasn't true. Maybe he did in a stream, but I don't watch streamers in general, so I wouldn't know. Even in this video, Tectone dances around to the point and just never lists actual creators on the supposed contract, and just fearmongers that there are creators on this contract that doesn't exist, mind you, and says that he can list them, but when it comes to it, he obviously can't, because no creator follows the schedule, and no Hoyoverse creator can be on this contract because it isn't real.
Now, how many creators do you think line up with that schedule?
I feel even if we assumed that that wasn't true and that contract wasn't for Hoyoverse specifically, are we still trying to say that those kinds of contracts in some way don't exist for Hoyo creators? Are we really gonna say that? Are we really trying to paint that? Like, what is this trying to do? Are we really gonna try to paint the narrative that those types of contracts don't exist for Hoyo creators? Are we just gonna say no? Actually,
like posting every 3 days or so, twice a week, and then doing 30 hours of streams every month, roughly around there.
Would Hoyo CC's literally say, yes, I'm on this contract?
Hold up. Do I show this? You know what? I won't. You guys can figure out exactly who this may or may not be applying to.
And the thing that's kind of frustrating is that Tectone could have very easily verified whether or not this contract was real or a Hoyoverse contract by just asking on Twitter if any other creator have received it, or hell, DM EO who said he's received it, or DM the creator making the claim in the first place. Once again, the standard for information and proof are in hell in the gacha space. Someone can literally use a source that says the opposite of what they are claiming and still run with the narrative that Hoyo is bad, and people will believe it without fact checking or verifying anything. And what implying that creators positive about Hoyoverse or in these slave contracts leads to is people simply just not believing and antagonizing any Genshin CC that's positive about the game because, oh, they must have sold their soul for cash and they're lying to their audience, which, as I said prior, breeds more hate and toxicity to people who can just genuinely enjoy the game. So when you see a tweet or post from a creator defending any of the Hoyoverse,
asking for proof when he doesn't offer any either. To me, the thing that I don't understand is that this feels like we're trying to say that these contracts don't exist entirely. That's kind of the narrative that's being painted here, when I feel all of us kind of know that that's just not the case. Maybe it might not have been that particular contract, sure, who knows, right? He can't prove that it is, other people can't prove that it isn't at this point. No one could prove either way. So what are we left with? Do we really think that's not happening?
games, it surely can't be because they enjoy it. It must be because they signed away their rights to voice their thoughts, which justifies and makes it easier to attack any Hoyoverse creators. There is literally, it's not just that one instance where contracts were brought up. There have been other people who were offered Genshin contracts. This is not a new thing. This is not a thing that is just like, oh, this never happens. I know people who were offered contracts or deals to play Genshin Impact for a specific amount of time. It's a thing that happens. Maybe that one particular instance, it might have been a case, okay, maybe that wasn't specifically for Genshin, but it does still happen. I got offered a contract this year, there we go. They do exist. They do exist. It's crazy. I've seen Hoyoverse contracts. I know multiple creators on actual Hoyoverse contracts. I have talked to the people that manage Hoyoverse contracts. And from everything I've seen, there is no clause anywhere that makes it so that their contract gets terminated or they get punished if they're critical of Hoyoverse. And the funniest thing about this whole discourse, especially with Tectone mentioning Gacha Smack, is that Smack looked through an actual Hoyoverse contract in depth that showed you they were allowed to renegotiate terms every 3 months and leave at any time they wanted, with no punishment or fees, in which he was actually surprised with how good the contract was for that.
You know what? This is important. The term of validity, how long are we doing this for, is divided into a probation period, so kind of like a testing period to see how things go, and the long-term formal period, 3 months is the long-term formal period. So every time 3 months is up, you reassess and see how things are going with this company. That is how I understand that. So this is actually really cool because you're not signing like 4-year contract, and let's say you sign the 4-year contract, you don't.
Once he said Hoyo contract is actually dog shit looking YouTube channel to Hoyo games only. Really? Wallenstein's did that? Wallenstein's did that? Was it exclusivity? It was an exclusivity contract. It was quite a while ago. Exclusivity, I think, is the big kicker, right?
Don't like what you're getting paid. Well, you're stuck for 4 years at that particular point. They're saying you get a 1 month
testing period. He can't play any other games on his channel. Ooh, Wallenstein's rejected it, and then Hoyo offered him to make another YouTube channel for Hoyo games only. See, that's the thing. That's the thing. So those contracts do fucking like we all know they exist. Why are we pretending that they fucking don't? I'll be real, this seems like we're cherry picking certain information to be like, hey, but you know, this contract, it looked pretty good. This one might not have been real. It's like, this is literally cherry picking information. They even force you to tell them about every sponsor that they offer you, and they can reject it at will. Who the fuck are they to decide who sponsors you or not? What the fuck? Oh, we can't have this game sponsoring you on this channel when you're making Genshin content. What the fuck? That's fucking crazy. They kept denying these contracts to this day. It's, are we fucking, what are we doing? This whole part of the video was like, but there are a few inconsistencies with subcontracts. Yeah, it's misinformation. It's trying to paint a narrative that they don't fucking exist, or actually the contracts are good. You're failing to understand the both sides argument thing. I'm pretty sure Flop said that, oh, these creators don't approach these things with an open mind. Yet he's being very one-sided in this whole contract stuff. He's doing the thing that he says that he hates and that he says he's critiquing. He's just looking at one side and trying to correct misinformation without acknowledging the fact that these contracts fucking exist and they happen. What are we... We're talking about... being transparent. What's going on, bro?
And then the long-term period is going to be every 3 months. So, I mean, that is great. That's really good for the creators. That means you're not like committing to anything long. It says both parties have the right to terminate this agreement without cause, provided they give reasonable notification to the other party. That's fantastic. So not only can you sign like a short-term contract, you also have whenever you want to be like, all right, you know what? I ain't feeling this. Let's go ahead and call it quits. Putting in my 2 weeks on this contract. All right, put in a 2 weeks on the contract. Go ahead and get up out of there. Did find is there wasn't a fee, like $100,000 fine or a $500,000 fine. I didn't find that anywhere in any of these pages. So you don't get hit with no hefty fee like you do with an NDA. Which is another positive for the content creator.
There are still some negatives, as Gotcha Smack highlighted, from the contract he had. They can turn down sponsors they dislike, and there are some other things he mentioned like the pay caps, which are dissatisfactory. Though again, you can leave at any time or renegotiate terms once every 3 months while not getting penalized. So what is the actual problem with these contracts? What makes them predatory or harmful to creators? And the thing that actually makes me kind of
what makes them predatory? Offering some kind of pay and locking you in for any kind of like amounts of time. He didn't watch the rest of the Smack video. Maybe we should watch that Smack video. Maybe we should watch it. Yeah, I mean, real contracts become predatory when you're offering certain amounts of like guaranteed pay. In any instance, it's like you're enticing people with money. Stopping people from uploading other games' content, for example. Yeah, you are sacrificing things you might want to do for some kind of guaranteed pay. Yeah, you're just working a job.
sad about this whole discourse is that 2 people I know have had their lives changed with the amount of money and opportunities this contract gave them, allowing them to become full-time creators. And one of the people I know is able to support their family with the help of this contract. It has been a net positive for them. And for this weird fear-mongering of a contract that has very fair terms,
I'm sure it's changed some people's lives. Oh, you bet Hoyo contracts have changed some people's lives when they dedicate their whole channels to making you know what, fair play to them. You know what, good for them. I'm saying good for you. I'm glad that you have you've got the bag, you're making content about the game, you're supporting your family, doing all that stuff. You know what, good for you. If that's the choices that you take, you come to make, good for you. But I think it's totally valid for people to see those creators and be like, hey, I don't know if I'm going to trust their opinions on these things, because kind of knowing they're probably contracted to do so. I think that's also fair.
Be spun as this evil thing silencing Hoyoverse CCs. It's just upsetting to know that there's potentially creators in bad financial positions turning this down.
I get contracts for acting jobs. Is that bad then? No, of course not. Hi, Amethyst.
because they think they're selling out by signing them, or think they'll be trapped in a horrible deal, which from all the evidence I've seen seems to be false. Alas, from this point in the video onwards, instead of talking about actual just misinformation that's been spread, I'm now going to shift into talking about my opinion on things like power creep in Genshin, Star Rail, and ZZZ, as well as minor things like Genshin's exploration, to try and give opinions that go against the popular consensus, as once again I feel like things are being very exaggerated in a misleading manner to portray the games as poorly as possible.
Genshin's pay to win exploration. Don't. Oh my god, don't. Stop. Stop. Oh my god, stop. 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 Did you talk about many nothings to say it proves it's false? And bro just talked about contract misinformation yet refuses to acknowledge the existence of like actual predatory contracts. And then failing to realize that when people are on those contracts, I think it's perfectly fine to kind of criticize them and be like, I don't know if I trust your word when you're talking about these games and praising them because you were getting paid to praise them. And it's okay for people to criticize that.
This guy stinks!
Oh, fuck me. What can we possibly say about this?
So this is just a minor point, but I want to tackle the notion that Genshin currently has pay-to-win movement mechanics in Natlan, which is simply something I've never really understood, or at least I would understand the criticism if you don't
Oh my god.
actually use the characters or tools given to you. Before even getting to Natlan, Hoyoverse has constantly added ways to traverse in your regions. Both in Azuma and Sumeru offer ways for you to just grapple around the map, and then there's bounce pads as well around the chasm and in Sumeru. And then in Fontaine, like half the exploration was underwater, and there was the Numa Uja mechanic in which some characters innately just had the Numa Uja, so puzzles could be solved much easier. And if you weren't a character that had these traits, then you'd have to find an orb to enable you to gain those powers. So Genshin has always given you the tools for exploring more conveniently all across the regions. Hell, even in Leeway, in some of the mountainous parts, if you just keep gliding, you can randomly get a gust of wind to carry you upwards to help you keep traversing in the air. In Natlan, the main complaints I've seen is that the characters belonging to the region get so much more exploration or quality of life compared to people who don't have the characters, or even the Saurians, which just isn't true, or at least besides Varessa, who I actually do think the regions. Hell, even in Leeway, in some of the mountainous parts, if you just keep gliding, you can randomly get a gust of wind to carry you upwards to help you keep traversing in the air. In Natlan, the main complaints I've seen is that the
yeah, they give you the bare fucking minimum so you could actually do the puzzles of the game. It's not like they lock you out of doing stuff and you can never do it unless you pull for characters. They give you the bare fucking minimum that it's kind of a tedious workaround for one. Yes, okay, we're praising tedious workarounds that have to exist, otherwise you literally can't do certain parts of the game.
Characters belonging to the region get so much more exploration or quality of life compared to people who don't have the characters, or even the Saurians, which just isn't true, or at least besides Varessa, who I actually do think is just too much. All the Saurians are just as good at exploration, if not better than the Natlan cast.
Again, you have to go out of your way to do something that someone that has a character could just do on their own. What do we mean? How is that not a quality of life? How is that not a I do have a hot take when it comes to quality of life, where I don't think having exploration mechanics behind gacha is necessarily a bad thing. Personally, that's like a hot take on all sides. I think for a lot of people, my gripe comes from when it's specifically better in one region. Like Natlan, it's only good, it's only better in one region than another, right? But for me, locking some kind of exploration behind gacha, it's not like the worst thing for me because it's a gacha game. We have a lot of insane mechanics in combat when it comes to, you know, locking stuff behind characters. Exploration is part of these games as much as combat is. So you're gonna gacha for combat, you're also gonna gacha for exploration. As long as you have like alternatives, then it's still okay, right? Like in Wuwa, you could fucking fly. So I don't particularly care that Peep has like a broom thing that you could use in other areas that much, right? That's just how I think about these things, because people pay for combat or they just like the look of the character. That's what the gacha is for. I think you could also gacha for the other major part of the game, which is exploration. So that's why I think personally exploration QLs behind gathering characters isn't the worst thing, because we're already doing it for other aspects of the characters in the fucking first place. So I feel like I can't be mad that we're pulling for insane busted characters and then be mad that, oh, some of them have QL exploration. Well, fuck me. You know what I mean? At least in fucking Wuwa and Ridicea, everyone can fucking fly it. It's the best method of flight possible, right? So that's my justification for it. But the stuff with Genshin is like, there isn't really, you have the alternatives, free to play alternatives, but it's more tedious to use. It's way more tedious to use.
The designs to do. Mualani and the Hydrosaurian are both effective swimmers. Hell, the Hydrosaurian, if you aren't sprinting, is able to swim indefinitely, which is something—
Yeah, but you can't use your characters.
Mulan can't do, as she always consumes Night Soul, and there really isn't a notable speed difference between the two. With Kinich, I originally thought the Yumka would be worse, but after playtesting, the Yumka seems to just be better. Kinich moves slightly faster, but it seems like you just get the same amount of height while traversing, or at least it isn't that noticeable. And there are even certain things the Yumka does better than Kinich. For starters, it can enable a mid-air attack for some extra height even without grappling, so you're able to do 3 mid-air attacks whereas Kinich can only do 2. They're also able to completely regain their grappling hook charges after using a grapple point where Kinich isn't.
Okay, but who cares? It's really not better.
And they are also able to just run up walls for some extra vertical height whenever they want, whereas Kinich has to use his grappling hook first, and it still ends up being quite clunky because you can end up actually climbing the wall. So I think we're just ignoring the fact that you can pull the character and swap to it whenever you fucking want and use it. That's really the point. That's why it's called QOL, quality of life, because you don't have to go find one. You could just swap to character and use it. That's why it is a QOL, quality of life. Quality of life. And then what about if we go outside of fucking that land? We go to Fontaine. What happens then? Oh, I just can't find a fucking dinosaur. I'll pull one out my ass when I'm in fucking Fontaine. When I'm in Sumeru. Yeah, let me just pull a whole ass green dino out my ass cheeks. Just prefer the Dendrosaurian to Kinich. They kind of just have better movement options, but no.
Why are we just ignoring this? Why are we actually just ignoring this? As soon as you go outside of Natlan, all of this is fucking irrelevant.
Oh, the pay to win mechanics. Moving on to Shalon, and I will also concede.
Why are we just completely ignoring that?
That you seem to be more comfortable climbing with her than the Saurian or Kachina, who is just worse than both. But I don't think the difference is again really anything that impactful. For Chaska and the Cucusaurs also feel better. You're able to descend indefinitely with the Cucusaur and it won't consume any phlogiston unlike Chaska. And again, looking over my footage, I don't pick up a notable speed difference between the two. And if you are within the Kwahukan cliffs, anyways, there are so many places for you to just get infinite stamina, to where you can just fly comfortably to your heart's content in this region where flying is required. For the Cryosaurian, they are the same as Sitlali or Roron. I can't notice a difference at all. These aren't even really exploration units and are just used for solving puzzles. Then with the Pyro Orca and Movuika, besides just traversing land, she isn't really that spectacular at doing anything else. Her swimming, climbing, and flying all have separate stamina bars that get consumed pretty quickly to where you can't even just depend on it solely. Her flight is only sustainable in the Kwahuakan cliffs, and even then she still can't interact with everything like the Saurians can, and she's unable to descend or gain height. And she's only able to activate the grapple when next to a hook point, so no, Movuika, despite being able to utilize all the movement mechanics, is always inferior to just using the dedicated sword.
Yes, but are we missing the point that then you have one character who could do fucking everything? Is it worse than all of them individually? Sure, but you have one character who could do everything at once. QOL, quality of life. Quality of life. Quality of life.
Jack of all trades, master of none-ass character. And lastly, we get to Varessa, where as I said before, I am in agreement that I think she's too strong of an exploration unit and should have the same restrictions they gave Yontan and the Electrosaurian. So that is at most 2 Natlan characters that are not even that much better than their Saurian counterparts.
That doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they're better than the Saurian counterparts or not. That's not the point. That's not the point of the issue that people fucking have in the first place. Bro, this is just intention. Bro, that's twice in a row that the dude is intentionally just missing the fucking point and just talking about painting a different a narrative altogether. Yeah, but it's not that bad. It's not really quality of life pay to win because the Saurians do it better. Okay, go outside of fucking Natlan.
What are we really complaining about? Because people are vastly overrating just how good the Natlan characters actually are at exploring. And everywhere you would need to use a Saurian, you were given one to traverse or solve a puzzle. And not to be that guy, but this is a god.
Maybe people just like to use their abilities whenever they want to. Maybe that's why it's called quality of life, because you can swap to the character and use them whenever, anytime you want to. And that's why it's called a fucking QOL. That's why it's literally called a QOL. It's literally a QOL.
Such a game. If you genuinely think the exploration is that big of an upside, despite the fact that as shown it's really not, then just pull for the characters. Any of them. You don't actually have to spend real money to obtain a C0 Varessa, Muulani, Kinich, or Shalonen. They're all strong characters in the meta as well, and you can just grind the primogems you need to obtain.
Oh my... Wait, stop. That is not the point you're making. That is not the point you're making. That is not the fucking point you're about to make. Stop. That is, brother, that is not the point. That is not, bro. Is bro actually say?
And not to be that guy, but this is a gacha game. If you genuinely think the exploration is that big of an upside, despite the fact that as shown it's really not, then just pull for the characters.
fucking pull for him. It's so simple. Just pull. Yo, maybe he's actually cooking. Wait. Maybe Flop is actually fucking cooking. Yeah, bro, just pull. Anytime. Bro, you know Miyabi from Zelda Zone Zero? She's so fucking strong, right? Rather than complain about all these other characters being like, not being able to clear certain parts of the content or being way more difficult to, stop complaining, grind and just pull for Miyabi if you're struggling. Honkai Star Rail, bro, all these 1.0 characters can't keep up. Hey, just keep pulling new ones, bro. Stop complaining. Just pull more. Just pull. Just keep pulling. It don't matter. It don't matter. Oh, this new character is fucking busted and broken. It makes every other character like dog shit and it must pull. Just fucking pull, bro. It's a gacha game. Just fucking pull. Holy fucking shit. Oh my fucking god. Holy shit. Oh my fucking god. Holy, what the fuck? What are we doing? What are we actually doing? That is probably the most fucked up retarded takes I've ever fucking heard. I literally... Oh, hi, we're Genshin Impact. We have new bosses where you have to have freeze characters in order to play the game properly. Oh, just pull the new ones. We have like 3 of them coming up right now. Just pull the new ones and you'll be fine.
Any of them. You don't actually have to spend real money to obtain a C0 Varessa, Muulani, Kinich, or Shilonen. They're all strong characters in the meta as well, and you can just grind the Primogems you need to obtain them, like you would with any other character in the game.
Yes, let me get all of these characters at once. Let me do all of these characters at once. Let me grind all the primos and absolutely have enough pulls to get all of these characters at once and not ever lose my 50/50s. What the fuck are we saying?
Game, but as I have already proven, you don't need to do that.
Brother, is he failing to recognize that for a lot of people, if they're doing like free to play and not spending money, by the time they have collected enough fucking primo gems free to play to be able to pull a fucking character, half the year's fucking gone. They've already done the content. The content's gone. They've had to struggle through it anyway by the time they fucking grind the primos to get the characters in the fucking first place. Like, it's months. Yeah, 2 to 3. They already have to suffer 2 to 3 worth of patches of content before they can even get a count. Oh, guess what? Hey, we're done with Natlan now. Time to move on to a new fucking area anyway. Yeah, congratulations. Just pull. Yeah, grind the primos for months and then pull when you don't even fucking need it anyway. Holy shit.
That. And a lot of people comment on the fact that these characters don't feel that good outside of Natlan, which is also something I've said, in which, yeah, you don't need these crazy tools outside of Natlan because that's not how the developers want you to interact with their worlds. And in the
I don't think I have to say anything.
other regions, you are given the traversal tools they want you to have for any given activity. What the fuck would being able to fly indefinitely in one stat do for you? And in other regions like Enkanomiya, the parts of the map being segmented is intended, which just flying all over the place would ruin. The only reason these dumbass arguments are being made in the first place is just because they can compare it to Wuwa and how you can fly indefinitely in one of the areas. You can wall run and you can mantle and whatnot, which at base gives you more movement options than Genshin, which if you want to say you prefer Wuwa's traversal, sure, but to say things like
from the business practices seen on both sides, that one company has a lot more respect for their players and their past expenditures than others.
But there is a way.
Bro, listening to Saint's like super American ad reading voice after so long just makes me feel strange. Bro, I don't know what, bro, listening to Saint's like that kind of voice that he used to do now, bro, he sounds like he could like be an ad reader. You know what I mean? He has the perfect voice. Yeah, who is this handsome man on the screen? Look, he's about to give y'all a big kiss. Look at that. Look at that. It's Ethan. Look at that. Look at that. He's about to give y'all a big fucking smoocheroono. Oh, fuck. This is going very well.
Way to tastefully do region locking and not make it predatory and not make your consumers feel
funny.
Insulted and feel stupid.
Pulling characters strictly for the massively improved experience they give you in the overworld. And the Kuro devs aren't using quality of life as FOMO to increase their banner sales.
So you really didn't need to buy any of them if you wanted just exploration. You could have bought Mavica. It's predatory as fuck. Natlan is the region of greed. It is not the region of war. It is the region of greed.
They designed their overworlds with the intention of creating inconvenience, annoyances, and frustration expiration if you don't save the resources for or spend on the on-banner character.
Can you imagine saying things
I mean, are they wrong? Are they fucking wrong?
this about any other open world game? In Spider-Man 2, you're able to web sling and fly all over the place with web wings at lightning fast speeds, because the objectives in the Spider-Man open world are at different levels of verticality, and some—
Why are we bringing up Spider-Man? Why are we bringing up Spider-Man? Why the fuck are we bringing up Spider-Man? Why the fuck are we bringing up— what the fuck are we doing? Brother, what the fuck are we doing? What the fuck are we doing? Brother, what the fuck are we doing? What the fuck are we doing?
Or spend on the on-banner character.
Can you imagine saying things like this about any other open world game? In Spider-Man 2, you're able to web sling and fly all over the place with—
What are you saying? What are you saying? What are you actually saying? What are you saying? What are you trying to imply? Oh, but look at the amazing traversal systems in Spider-Man. No one complains about that.
web wings at lightning fast speeds, because the objectives in the Spider-Man open world are at different levels of verticality, and some of the activities like chasing cars involve you having to move at these speeds, so it makes sense why the traversal in this game is like this.
Yes! It's a fucking Spider-Man game! It's a fucking Spider-Man game! The whole point is looking cool while you swing around and do shit! Yes, of course it's gonna be fucking good! Holy fucking shit! Wow! What are we saying? I actually think I've become retarded. Bro, I've just felt my brain shrink in my fucking skull. Bro, I feel my brain is shrinking inside of my head. It's shrinking. I have no brain left. I have zero brain left. Yeah, so Flip, are you therefore saying that when people play Genshin Impact for the first time, the exploration was so fucking bad? The exploration was so fucking bad, you made a man quit. You made a man quit. After 1 hour of playing the fucking video game. That's intentional design? And definitely not to force you to pull for characters.
But when you get to a game like Elden Ring...
Why are we bringing up Elden Ring? This has to be one of the most retarded videos I've ever fucking seen. Oh, this is actually so fucking... This is so... My brain. What are these comparisons? What are these fucking comparisons? What the fuck is going on? Oh, brother, stop.
This is the most of your exploration experience. Look at this bullshit. Why is my Tarnish not able to fly and grapple up those buildings? Why don't I get power-ups that loud?
That's not the fucking point. This is not... Brother has missed the point entirely. Bro, this is the most disingenuous creation of an argument I've ever fucking seen. This is the most disingenuous fucking argument I've ever fucking seen. He's trying to imply that, oh look, Elden Ring is built for a certain way, right? The traversal that they have in Elden Ring makes sense for that kind of game. The traversal in Spider-Man makes sense for that fucking game. So obviously, it would be bad to assume that you should want to be able to fly and stuff. So why are people, when they go to Genshin, are mad, okay? Why are they mad when they're not able to like immediately fly in their games when the game isn't built for that? No, the game's not built for that intentionally. You're right, fucking Flop. You're right. Because they make it so much more of an inconvenience from you to kind of persuade you into pulling for characters that can. That's literally the fucking point. Congratulations. You're not wrong that the devs designed things intentionally. You are 100% right. But the reason they do it in fucking Genshin is to entice you to pull for fucking characters. That's the whole fucking point. Holy shit.
Torrents to jump indefinitely. From Software clearly doesn't respect you or your time as a player if they think you're going to be okay with this. It's not like the traversal given to the player is set within the grasp of how they're supposed to engage with the world. The reason you can't do things like fly indefinitely in regions that don't demand it or grapple hook to any area you want in Genshin.
No one is saying that you should be able to fly indefinitely or grapple. Literally no one has fucking said that. Zero people. Absolutely zero people have said they want indefinite flight in Genshin, or they want to be able to permanently grapple all the time. Like, that's no one said that, and it's still purposefully disingenuous. Like, what? Bro, it's like creating an argument to try and fight against that people aren't even fucking saying, and missing the actual whole fucking point. Yeah, it's a straw man argument. Oh, it's so funny because he's the one that's saying others are making straw man argument. This is literally the biggest straw man I've ever fucking seen. Create a new argument that no one is really saying, then attack that argument thinking you're making some kind of point when no one is saying this. No one's gonna complain about Elden Ring. No one's gonna complain about fucking Spider-Man. You're bringing that up to fabricate this point that no one... You're fighting fucking demons, brother. Brother's fighting fucking demons about exploration. Brother's like shadowboxing all this fucking shit. Holy shit, bro has just got multiple L after L. What is happening?
The fact that it would also just break a lot of the puzzles they set up. Natlin is more open to putting things out of your way because they give you the tools to fly indefinitely or jump 3 times what you normally can. But that is not the case for the earlier regions, which is why Natlin characters have to be so restricted, so they don't just break the earlier puzzles. But I think that's all I need to say regarding how the traversal system being paid to win simply is not true. Being able to run slightly faster than the other cast or training together a team that can't handle any hard fights is just...
It's not necessarily pay to win, it's quality of life. It's intentionally making it fucking tedious without providing a great free-to-play alternative. Bro, we already have a sleigh. We already have a sleigh.
just slightly more convenient and doesn't lock you out of anything.
They already break earlier puzzles. They just don't do it the same extent of Natlan. His argument again doesn't exist.
You are given multiple free tools to aid you in exploring every region. Alas, that's all I really have to say about this topic, so let's move on to talking about something a lot more subjective, in which I would like to...
Oh, we're gonna argue subjectives now? Oh, fuck me. Here we go. Oh, fuck me. I didn't know it could get worse. I didn't know it could get worse. Now we're gonna argue against subjectives. Oh, fuck me. Holy shit.
Discuss endgame modes as well as power creep. I'm a Genshin Theory Crafter and I'm able to get all premium rewards in all 3 endgame modes across the games, even though I've barely played HSR and ZZZ, and I've quit multiple times when the game's bored me. This topic is going to be a lot more subjective than the others, so if that doesn't interest you, then go ahead and skip to the end of my conclusion. This section doesn't really affect that much.
Power creep endgame. Oh, stop. This is gonna be bad, isn't it?
To close this video out, the last topic I want to dive into is power creep and endgame, as I also think that this discussion has become like actual cancer in this community. I'm mostly going to be going over the points being spearheaded by Saint Tontus, as he's the loudest and dumbest when it comes to things like this, just shouting buzzwords without any substance. And I've seen people actually take him.
Have you seen the latest Genshin content with Emerald of Infinite HP? Yeah, I heard the HP inflation is increased yet again in Genshin Impact. Yeah, isn't that a thing now? Yeah, even more so. It was bad before. Now it's pretty bad. Fightful needs to go back to his old job of using a mop or back to the corner selling that top. What?
When it comes to things like this, which is insane, as he commonly criticizes the big 3 Hoyoverse games for the endgame being too hard, but he barely understands how to properly play the games in the first place, especially when he isn't being wheelchaired by his chat, and he also doesn't understand the fundamental mechanics of the game anyways, so his opinion on these endgame modes should not be taken seriously, when he doesn't understand the combat systems of the game he's discussing. Saint Tontus has said that Genshin is unplayable without elemental reactions.
The DOT system isn't supposed to be the main way to deal damage. Yeah, this is the thing. Guess what happens in Genshin Impact? Yeah, if you don't use the elemental reactions, your team is actually not playable.
Which first of all isn't even true. There are tons of teams without reactions at the center that are still more than good enough to clear. And even if
I'm pretty sure if you're not doing reactions in Genshin, it's just you just can't play. Right? I'm pretty sure that's the whole point. Yeah, bro, I just played a boss yesterday where if I don't freeze it, then I die. Bro, no. If I literally don't freeze a boss, I die. That's literally a thing that happens.
If the game was unplayable without reactions, that's what you signed up for when you downloaded the game that's combat is focused around elemental reactions. And again, can you imagine saying this about any other game on the planet with RPG elements? Hey guys, Elden Ring is unplayable if you don't learn how to dodge. Pokemon is unplayable if you don't match type weaknesses. Wuwa is unplayable without intro or outro skills. Sekiro is unplayable if you...
Okay, so you agree that color matching is necessary to play the game. What is he saying? Is he saying, oh no, there are multiple teams that actually you don't have to do that with? But yeah, no, Genshin is about color matching. But are you agreeing or disagreeing?
You don't parry. That is just the core mechanic of the game and not an actual flaw with it. And this is who is leading the argument.
A main mechanic can also be a flaw when you design fucking enemies that require certain kind of reactions, that require you to pick certain characters. If you don't happen to have some of the better characters for that job, you're left with worse characters who have to do that job, and you don't even know if you're gonna fucking clear it with those worse characters if you don't have them fucking built, or if you haven't pulled for them. That's the whole fucking point. That is literally the whole fucking point.
It's about the problems with power creep and endgame in Hoyoverse gachas. St. Tontus had a debate with Sekapoko, which for whatever reason he decided to post, despite getting destroyed for a good 70% of the video, where he randomly starts bringing up ICDs to sound smart when they weren't necessary for the discussion at all.
Right, that little electro pony that's in the second side of the abyss, where you literally want to make sure you have like your ICDs are lining up. Your ICDs are like lining up to like ensure that you're dealing enough elemental ticks to like break the shield in time. Yeah, exactly. There are specific units that, because of like the specific things built into their kit and how much they shill the design of the boss, they make the fight absurdly simple and easy. And if you don't have them in, it becomes an absolute nightmare.
But there's a lot of characters that do that, though. Like, a lot.
Yeah, I don't think that's a good thing.
Wait, to have a lot of characters that can beat the bosses in different ways?
To have bosses that are specifically designed around owning one or, like, you know, like 1 or 2, maybe 3 characters on the roster, and then they absolutely trivialize it. And then if you don't have those bosses, you might as well go, you know.
There's a lot. There's like, 96 characters in Genshin.
But he's not wrong, though. Like, it is just a bad thing to have, where you need specific character. Brother, it's like the current chess thing. The chess boss. If you don't have a freeze character, you fucking die. You die. You literally die. Now imagine that in an abyss. What? It's not inherently a good thing to have. Hi, Tega.
Genshin, so I can list every single character that will get through this mechanic. There's a lot.
Yeah.
Lali
Arlecchino, Chevres, Charlotte, Risley, Linny, Dea, Layla, Shenhe, Tomakana, Ayaka, I did it the other day, it's cool. Ganyu, Rosaria, Yanfei, Klee really well actually, not bad. Kaya, Bennett, Zhangling.
That's the 1 or 2.
Yeah, what if you don't want to play them?
So you don't want to play the characters that are good for the fight?
Nightmare. That's okay, the difference.
That argument is bullshit, by the way. Okay. Literally every single player in Genshin owns Kachina, who is a free character that we have all received.
Yeah, I don't want to use a midget on
that character is free.
I don't want to use her.
Every single player that did the event in Genshin owns Odoron.
But that means you have to then build them. Bro, that means you then have to fucking build them. It's now saying you are forced to build certain characters that you don't even want to spend your precious resources logging in every day grinding for. You are saying that you have to spend time and energy leveling characters good enough to do the end abysses, by the way, right? Good enough to do the end abysses, not just built enough to fucking do the max endgame content, which is a fucking lot of investment. You are forced to build a shit fucking character that takes a lot of investment to make them good to clear fucking these abysses. Because, they would work. Come on.
Free this patch.
I mean, that's every game, though. Wuwa, you need different elements. Can you please tell me a boss in Wuwa where you are required to use a certain type or element attribute of a character to kill the boss, or to, like, make a certain mechanic the boss does, like, that... where a boss has a literal mechanic built into it? That's not the argument. No, I know. You're saying that's every game, but Wuwa doesn't do the thing that you're saying that it does. To be fair, right? Like, Wuwa doesn't do the same thing. We're talking about... No, we're not. No, we're not. No, we're talking about mechanics that bosses have that need certain kind of characters to trigger it so you can actually keep fighting a boss. That's not the same thing, Drake. That's not the same thing. We're not talking about elemental resistances. Drake, I'm sorry, you've missed the point. Drake, you've missed the point. Drake, I'm sorry, you have missed the point.
Most owned character in Genshin Impact is named Kazuha. He jumps.
I don't want to use them.
It's like saying, hey, I don't have C6 Mortifay on my account, but I've been playing for 3 years.
Yeah, there's no content in the game that requires a C6 Mortify.
Okay, so the game is easier.
Saint Tontis is out here playing Nahida in burning teams where she can't trigger her mark. And I could backseat his terrible gameplay and team building, but that can be for another video. I digress. Now, the first thing I want to lead to this discussion with is that endgame content is not for every player, and it's not supposed to be accessible to everyone by nature. Most of these games' content exists independent of endgame modes. Even if you take away Genshin's endgame, you have the entire open world, Archon quests, story quests, and so on. The same thing with HSR to a lesser extent, especially with the fact that the game literally drops 8-hour-long quests to keep you occupied. They don't expect you to do that in one sitting, they expect you to play and digest that over the course of an update to keep you busy, and that has been the loop since launch. And the same thing with ZZZ as well, with the seasonal events to give you something else to do alongside that. The endgame in these games don't lock you out of any meaningful content or stop you from progressing the story. They are designed for people who like combat a lot and want to be tested. You do get the premium currency for beating endgame modes, but even then you can get a majority of the premium rewards by doing the lower difficulty options the game provides you.
I actually agree that endgame content is not intended to be accessible to every player. I also agree with this. I think endgame content should be reliant on people that have actually spent time investing on their characters. I don't think you should be able to pull for the newest characters, have them like be fucking like be mid, throw them in endgame and they fucking win. No, I think every endgame mode requires you to have very invested characters to fucking complete. That to me is what the whole point of endgame mode is. Have you invested in your characters enough? If yes, you complete the fucking endgame mode. That's literally how I feel. Have you invested enough? Yes or no? That's really all it should be.
For Deadly Assault in Theater, getting a partial completion will still give you all the premium currency, and even if you can't push all the way through MOC or Spiral Abyss, you can still net a large amount of gems through partial clears. And if you care so much about getting all of these rewards, then you as the player should work towards that. These endgame modes are optional content which will not hinder your experience if you choose to ignore it, and the difficulty and inaccessibility is not a design flaw, it's the design intent. You are supposed to be challenged, you're supposed to struggle, and you're ideally supposed to bang your head against the wall until you complete it. And if you can't, then tough, it's your job to rise to that challenge. I don't know where the idea that the endgame content is supposed to be a chore you do every time a reset's
That's how it should be. Yeah, look at fucking Wuwa. You can still fucking clear content with your 1.0 characters, even though other characters may have become stronger over time and other teams may have become stronger. Guess what? If you invest in your fucking characters, you still fucking complete the endgame mode. That's how it should be. That is how it should be. That's how it should be.
Come from. In fact, the Hoyoverse games are probably some of the most generous when it comes to endgame content in the wider gaming space. A while ago, I was really into Destiny and its endgame modes were called raids that are infinitely more challenging than anything in these gacha games, whilst actually locking you out of some of the best set pieces, equipment, and upgrades if you didn't do them. Not only that, but you needed to assemble a full team of 6 without matchmaking, grind to get your level up to play the mode, and on top of that, if you didn't bring the right gear, people just wouldn't team up with you, as you'd be too much of a hindrance. And one run of these raids that lasted hours wouldn't even get you everything that you needed, on top of drops being RNG. So to see people complaining about fucking ZZZ's endgame being too difficult, or pretending they're being locked out of meaningful content when it's normally just a wave of recycled mobs in a recycled arena.
Yeah, that's definitely why they didn't buff Ellen Joe. There's definitely no reason why they didn't just buff Ellen Joe. There was no reason why they did that, right? They just did that for fun. They just did that for fun, right? They just did that for fun.
Baffles me. Even if I couldn't personally clear the content, I don't think I'd be missing out on too much of an experience. Hell, if we're talking about Zenless, I have an M0 Ellen which I got on release, and like 2 months ago now I wasn't able to clear. I was using a Colita with my Evelyn because I didn't have lighter, and I played the game on and off, but after looking at some guides on how to play these characters and what drive discs I should be farming, even without being the best at the game or having the best stuff, I'm currently able to clear with a 1.0 team. On Ellen,
my allergies playing up.
Again, I need to clarify, I scripted this before the Ellen buffs were even announced. She's very good now, but I was
yeah, I wonder why they buffed her. I wonder why they buffed Ellen Joe. That's crazy. That's crazy. Allergic to shit takes? Yeah, I think I'm fucking allergic to fucking dog shit videos, bro. I don't know what's going on, man.
Clear with her prior even without the buffs, while using Evelyn with Colita, who's a very hard character to play, and it was satisfying going from not being able to clear to being able to do it on stream without that much difficulty, because it was a struggle to get here, and that is what endgame mode should feel like. And in HSR, you are literally given 41 days to formulate a strategy to plan out what your best pull should be to make your account stronger, as well as what you should farm. So no end-
Oh, I forgot about something. I forgot about something. We're gonna play Genshin today, guys, by the way. Just so that you're all aware, we're oh no. We're gonna pull for Skirk. We're gonna do that later, though. We're gonna do that later.
Endgame modes do not have to be accessible to everyone. They are a goal you are meant to work towards by design, and it's completely optional. But that's it with the wider endgame discussion. Let's move on to talk about HP inflation. So a lot of the sentiment...
We're gonna pull for Skirk, and we're gonna see just how great she is without Escoffier, guys.
I see in the gacha space, or at least the vocal complaining part, is that HP inflation isn't a valid way to increase difficulty, and therefore by increasing enemies' HP, Hoyoverse is artificially creating difficulty, instead of introducing mechanics that challenge the player.
Yeah, but the problem with a game like fucking Honkai Star Rail, not only is it HP inflation, it's also introducing mechanics where you need certain kinds of like characters to deal with. Oh, a bit like Genshin, right? You need AoE characters, or you'll need a shielded character really to effectively deal, or a follow-up character to deal with certain kinds of bosses. Hey, Hoyoverse is the worst at that. Hoyoverse is the fucking fucking Honkai Star Rail is the worst at that. And why? Because it's a turn-based fucking game. There's only so much that they could implement.
People will just link charts and be like, look how much the HP has increased, missing context to show why the HP has increased in the first place. One thing I do want to put out there is that HP inflation is not inherently a bad thing, nor does it show a lack of confidence on the developer's part. Increasing HP pools has always been a way to increase difficulty in any RPG ever. If you look at Elden Ring, you fight Margit, who has a low amount of HP, but when you fight him again later in the game, he now has a more complex moveset on top of his HP increasing. Is From Software just no longer confident in their enemy designs? Obviously not. This is just made with the expectation.
Bro, that's not the... Yes, because as you play Elden Ring, your character is getting leveled up. You start from being at the beginning of the fucking game to the further at a point further on in the game where your character has more power. Yes, the enemy's HP is increased, but so has yours. Your HP is increased, your strength's increased, you have more abilities, you have more tools, you have more resources, more ways to deal with the fucking enemy. You're comparing a beginning of a game to a midpoint in the fucking game. We can't compare that to end game of Honkai versus end game of fucking Honkai. Of course, it's not the fucking same thing. What is it with this guy making comparisons that don't make fucking sense? Genuinely, what is this? Why is he making comparisons that actually genuinely don't make any fucking sense? One is progression of your character through the game, and bosses and enemies respond to that progression, versus two different end games, two different points in time of endgame modes for Honkai Star Rail. Like, what is going on? This comparison makes zero fucking sense. Like, actually zero.
That you get stronger across your journey or improve enough at the game to where Margit having a higher HP bar when you refight him doesn't hinder you. And I do get that the main complaints for HP inflation in the endgame modes is that it's the same content but now harder, but I just wanted to point out how increasing HP pools is a tool used by literally every RPG developer in existence as a way to add difficulty. So just yelling HP inflation.
Yes, that happens. That fucking happens when you progress a fucking game, when your characters get stronger over time. Yes. Thank you for pointing out that new characters are more stronger than the old ones, therefore they have to keep inflating the HP of the fucking endgame modes to make it even kind of have any kind of difficulty. Well done for making that obvious. Thank you for like shining a light onto that flop for all of us. You know, you just outlaid the point entirely. Yep, he's done it. He's done it. Imagine upgrading your characters through a play, right?
Isn't actually a negative if you don't substantiate why that is. Now to move on to complaints about HP inflating with the same content, I still feel like
the comparisons he keeps making to other games are his worst takes. He should not have done that. I don't know what made him think, yes, this is a really good idea. Let me compare fucking Genshin Impact Traversal QOL to fucking Spider-Man and Elden Ring. That's actually one of the most dumbest things ever. Like, how can you take someone seriously when you say things like that? Or try and make like a fake disingenuous point and then try and argue it. It actually makes zero sense. That's still blown my mind, by the way. Can't you like beat the whole Elden Ring level 1? Probably.
Discussion is being completely overblown for a few reasons. First, when looking at 1.0 cycles with ZZZ, HSR, or Genshin, I feel like people forget that they were complete jokes. Up until around like mid-Sumeru or around the beginning of Fontaine for Genshin at least, people were complaining that the Abyss was too easy and that the enemies were too squishy for a majority of good accounts. So when you scale up from something that was almost considered a joke, it almost becomes in a way an adequate challenge. But this is also another thing that I hate with HP inflation arguments, because it has the assumption that there's this standard damage that majority of players players are at, and it's just an arbitrary line that never changes. Let's say a boss has 1,000,000 HP and at the investment level your team is at, you do 1,000,000 damage in a rotation or cycle or whatever, so you're able to kill this boss in one rotation. With the assumption that no new supports come out or you don't pull another DPS and every boss from this point on only has 1,000,000 HP, let me tell you what eventually will happen. For Genshin, every beneficial artifact substat is around a 2% increase, so let's say you get 2 upgrades to all 5 of your artifacts on your DPS, that's around a 20% DPS increase right there. Let's say a new combo is found out with your character, which does happen like in Malvika and Varesa's case, that makes the character even stronger than what you were doing before. Or maybe you get a constellation or weapon.
Yes, the two limited characters, people find out you could do stuff with it that makes them stronger because you have the 2 of the more limited characters that are new to the game but you could play. Yeah, that's crazy that actually when I pull for the newest characters in the game, they're strong. Why did he fucking use Malvika and Varisa? Holy shit. Bro actually used 2 of the newest characters in the fucking game to make a point about, oh, you do more damage to clear end game.
On your DPS when they rerun, boosting their damage even more with relatively early upgrades. Or hell, people also just find better ways to beat bosses over time. If the HP stayed the same, even if no new characters came out to power creep the old ones, people will get better at using their characters and get upgrades for characters over time, to where if HP doesn't increase, you will just outscale the content and it will be too easy. And from here,
I don't want my game to be too easy. You will outskill. It's too easy. It's too easy.
Here, the common argument is, oh, just add more mechanics to the enemies or bosses, but I feel like people ignored that mechanics only work if the enemy doesn't.
Isn't that crazy? I feel that's a crazy fucking take. Like, you've spent a lot of time perfecting your characters, upgrading them, making sure their stats are great, and you've become very, very skilled at using your characters to the point of which you can now defeat the end game content like comfortably. Like, that's it. You've done it. You've done it. That's why people pull for more characters and they do the same thing again. They build them up. They progress them to a point which they become very good at them. They have great stats, all this stuff, to the point where they can do it with new characters. That's the point of playing these fucking gacha games. You keep pulling for new characters over time, build them up by using your stamina every single day to get to a point where you can clear the end game content and you can do it comfortably. By the time you've done that, you've pulled for another fucking character and do the same thing again. That's what gacha games are. That is literally what gacha games are. That's literally the whole point of these games.
Immediately fucking die. Let's look at rune guards in Genshin. These are supposed to be challenging enemies, or at least at the beginning of the game they were extremely powerful, and one of the only ways to stop them is to aim at their weak points twice to stun them. But now we're at a level in Genshin where people don't actually interact with the rune guards in this way, and instead—
yes, because they've invested in their fucking characters.
Just kill them. Because who gives a shit about the enemy's mechanics when you can just choose to kill them instead? Did you know that the Pyro Fatui agent actually has a mechanic where he sends out clones all around you and then does a finisher attack when he gets enough clones? No, because most people just kill it before that happens. It was only in Natlan where they added this enemy as a local legend that people could see that, hey, these guys are actually pretty difficult to manage. So unless HP pools are high enough in the first place or the mechanics being added make you unable to do damage, or massively increase the enemy's defense, adding mechanics onto the same
to be softcore porn for losers.
Because people will choose to just ignore the enemy's mechanics and kill it instead. In a way, HP inflation almost facilitates mechanics, as the higher a boss's HP is, the more ways the developer can throw things at you to trip you up. And another thing I dislike about HP inflation arguments when you just look at a graph and soy out about how much it increases, is that if you look at the MOC cycle where Svarog had tons more HP than he did previously, that MOC had a mechanic where percentage-based damage was dealt to elite enemies if he killed the trotters. If Svarog had the same amount of HP with those mechanics in the MOC, he would just die instantly. Nikador has a ridiculous amount of HP too, but only because if you kill the totems he spawns, you can fucking nuke him, which if he had 1.2 enemy HP, again, he would just die. The pillar boss in Genshin has a ton of HP too, but when you break the pillars, his resistance is dropped by 90%, making you deal a lot more damage to him, and the pillars you break nuke 15% of his HP. And because of this, it makes it so that any team you bring to that boss can realistically clear in 2 cycles of pillars, resulting in very consistent clears no matter what team you use. So no, you can't really just point to a graph and yell HP inflation.
I agree that HP inflation graphs don't tell the full story. I totally agree with that specifically, and that you have to look into what is the actual mechanics of the fight telling you to do. What are the buffs and debuffs for the whole thing, right? I agree with that, but But to say that there hasn't been a general overall increase in like HP inflations of these games is also just like not true. That's also, again, disingenuous. And kind of painting this as like being, oh, HP inflation isn't really a problem because look, there's a reason why the HP is inflated. There are mechanics that outweigh it. But no, it's also an overall in general thing. HP inflation was never an issue for skilled whale players. If you do damage, the enemy dies. Our moment. Do we need M-Tash to save gacha games? M-Tash, bring back M-Tash. No, let's not do that. Let's not bring him back. I think we're all good.
Because in isolation it isn't even really a bad thing, and Hoyoverse continues to add mechanics to these enemies or endgame modes that justifies why the HP has to increase in the first place. And speaking of mechanics, let me just rant about the Natlan enemies, as this is also something that's been discussed horrendously even by Genshin YouTubers, as well as those outside the space that don't understand how these enemies actually work. Every single one of these enemies is extremely manageable with or without Natlan characters or specific units. If not, using the less popular options can even just be better than what you would think. Starting with the Pyro Dinosaur, which you apparently need a C6 Yulon for.
But this looks awful. This looks like something like if you don't have Farida, maybe like C6 Yulon can take it out.
The boss doesn't stay in the sky. The gimmick is that it will fly down and spawn 2 pyro blooms, and you have to take out all of the blooms for it to stay on the ground so you can rail on it with elemental application. Furina having her pets that automatically target the dragon is nice, but it's not a sole requirement. And Jingcho, a 4-star, has the fastest Hydra application in the game, making it much easier with him. So even fucking Barbara could do this effectively. This is just an application check, which is the exact same thing for the Papilla. It's not a Natlan check, it's an elemental application check. Hyperbloom teams destroy this, double Hydra teams with Jingcho destroy this, burning teams destroy this, which don't even need Emily to be good. You can play quick burn setups with Nahida. Any team that enables C6 Fischl can destroy this. There are so many non-Natlan ways to make this mechanic a joke, and the narrative that Natlan characters are amazing at destroying this needs to die, because only specific Natlan characters that have a lot of hits are good at destroying it. You need a specific combo for Malvika to break it. Mualani can't break this without a burning team. Varessa is slower at breaking this than the Chlor and Fischl teams. So again, this is not at all a Natlan check, it's a hit count check. For the hot cryo lady, just bring pyro or fast electro application and you can trivialize it. Nothing much to say. And for the pillar boss, which is the most controversial, Kachina is free for starters, and she's just a walking scroll set. You literally don't even need to level her up for her to give.
Okay, you don't need to level her up, but you want to take them into a fucking abyss. You still want to take them in a fucking abyss, even though they're not leveled up. Okay, crazy.
Full value to teams. Why is the entire community acting like using Kachina as some kind of cardinal sin? You would use her in the exact same teams you'd use Shilonen in. You not wanting to use Kachina is not an excuse when the game gives you her for free. And even if you don't want to use Kachina for some reason, people meme
oh my god.
The solution. But for medium character models, there's a spot where you can just run and jump, and you can climb the pillar quite easily. The boss is in the overworld, and you can learn this trick in less than 10 minutes. It really isn't that deep. Most teams in Genshin use at least one character with a medium model, in which the climbable part of the pillar is really wide and faces towards the boss.
Oh, that's so obvious. Wow, that's so fucking obvious to do. Yeah, that definitely wasn't like unintentional. Jesus. If it was gonna be intentional that you could actually climb them, it should make it more obvious that you could fucking climb it. Jesus fucking Christ.
In which all you have to do is look left and jump into this ridge. And even if you don't want to do that, so many characters have vertical movement. Some very flexible.
Bro, if it's that fucking tedious to do it, it means that it wasn't intentional. It genuinely means that it wasn't intentional if you couldn't just fucking climb it.
Characters have vertical movement like Kazuha and Shanyan. Most Natlan characters who aren't Shilonen or Kachina are able to just jump up to it. Even if you want to discount climbing, there are simply too many ways for almost every team in the game to climb this pillar for it to be a real issue. But that's all I have to say regarding the Natlan enemies.
Yeah, they resorted to using an unintentional mechanic as a fucking reason.
The release time of this video, I was going to bring up how Saint Tonta's complete.
Yeah, he should use 1.0 characters to do all that content. Yeah, you're right.
Misrepresents the miasma mechanic in ZZZ, making it sound way worse than what
miasma
actually is. But so many creators have clowned on him, so I don't see the need. I was going to discuss power creep in a lot more depth, but to be honest, this video is getting way too long, so I will just try to sum up my thoughts very briefly so we can all move on with our lives. In the big 3 Hoyoverse gachas, especially with Genshin and ZZZ, power creep is almost a non-factor for these games. You can say things like Miyabi and Malvika are so much stronger than everyone else, but as a pattern, characters like these are very rare and relegated to very important lore characters. On top of the fact that you never really need the type of damage a Malvika or Miyabi brings. Malvika being
We're just gonna intentionally ignore the point that, like, in ZZZ they did that with Miyabi, and then they proceeded to make the endgame harder because his ceiling was higher. Are we just gonna ignore that? Like, yes, they come around periodically, but then everybody else suffers because of it. Well, how? What are we doing?
30% better than Arlecchino doesn't matter when Arlecchino can still make the Abyss a joke. Miyabi being stupid OP doesn't matter when there are people using free-to-play billy comps dominating the game while not even using the full allotted time for a max clear. You can say power creep exists, but in isolation it isn't really a problem.
Yeah, okay, that's insane. Yeah, bro, just someone clip that. Someone just fucking...
when there are people using free-to-play billy comps dominating the game while not even using the full allotted time for a max clear. You can say power creep exists, but in isolation it isn't really a problem. Genshin time for a max clear. You can say power creep exists, but in isolation it isn't really a problem. Genshin very often goes back to buff all. Say power creep exists, but in isolation it isn't really a problem.
I don't think I have to say anything. I don't think I have to fucking say anything.
Genshin very often goes back to buff older units and archetypes through newer characters. Zenless didn't even really have a power creep problem, as the older units are still viable, with a free A rank being one of the best supports. And yet they still buffed Ellen.
He's literally doing the stupid and greedy argument. Bro is literally pulling a stupid and greedy. Power creep isn't a problem if you're not being stupid and greedy. He's literally, he's genuinely making a stupid and greedy.
Despite her clearing content fine. And HSR, which in my opinion did have the most issues with making, still buffed problem, as the older units are still viable, with a free A rank being one of the best supports. And yet they still buffed Ellen despite her clearing content fine. And HSR, which in my opinion did have the most issues with making characters obsolete, is also trying to rectify its issues by making older units stronger, as well as the fact that it also constantly buffs older units with newer supports, allowing a majority
constantly buffing older units by making new ones that you have to pull for. At that point, just give more DPS units. What does it matter if they're a support unit or a DPS unit? You still have to pull for a new character regardless. What does that take? Yeah, but you could still pull the new supports.
majority of the older DPS to still be viable. Herta clearing 2 cycles faster than Jinglu doesn't really matter if you're still able to earn all the rewards with Jinglu. At that point, you're just baby raging that—
I'll take power creep is not really a problem, it depends on the implementation. Listen, I think Wuthering Waves has power creep, right? I'm a believer that Wuthering Waves has power creep. Do I think it could be a problem in the future? Sure, it could definitely be a problem in the future. Is it a problem right now? No, but is there power creep in the game? Sure. Genshin doesn't have this peak. Peak!
Your favorite character isn't as strong anymore, and not with the reality that you aren't being locked out of anything. Every live service RPG in the history of everything has power creep. What matters is how games manage it, in which I think all the Hoyoverse games are doing a pretty good job, honestly. Some better than others. The real problem instead of power creep is how the endgame modes in these games chill certain units by buffing them in all endgame modes, and then HSR just designing enemies around specific characters, because it creates a false sense of reality with how strong the characters are. If Fei Zhao is one cycling MOC during her release with minimal investment, of course when they stop shilling her and shill the new unit, that's going to make Fei Zhao feel so much more worse in comparison, whereas if they weren't shilled at all, we could make much fairer comparisons. That is the real problem in my opinion, not necessarily power creep. But with that, I have rambled long enough, let's close out this video. All in all, as we can see from everything I've pointed out in this video, a lot of the pretenses for arguments between gacha communities are quite literally from fabrications, frontlined by figures like St. Tontis and Glaive Kyo and the likes, to just make people angry at each other for their benefit. And this tribalism has not helped any of the games be better or made the community better. In fact, it's only made the communities worse and more toxic.
Just simply do not consume the content. Brother, I'm just gonna be so honest. I hate, oh, Shade's ruining gacha, Glaive Kyo's ruining gacha, blah blah blah. Bro, we could fucking turn it off. You could don't watch it, don't engage if you don't care about it. Brother, it's so easy. It's so easy. If you don't like certain kinds of dialogues, why don't you just stop investing so much of your personal time looking into gacha drama, looking into gacha fucking content? Take a break, go outside, go get laid, get a girlfriend, get a dog, go pet your cats, go to the fucking gym. Like you could just choose to ignore it. People can make this content because people engage with it. Simply don't engage if you don't fucking give a shit about it.
toxic with all the misinformation, engagement farming, and
yeah, if 2 people could ruin the whole gacha fucking communities, I'll be so real, guys. Only a very small fucking percentage of people actually who play gachas actually consume gacha content. A very, very small percentage of people who play these games consume content creators of gacha games, or care about what they say on Twitter, or care about what they post on YouTube, or what they say on Twitch. Most of these people are just playing fucking casually, and they don't fucking know who Satontus is. They don't fucking know who Glaive Kyo is. They don't fucking know who I am. They don't know who Flop is. Fuck me. Most people don't know who fucking Tectone is, right? These are just people who play fucking gacha games and they don't fucking give a shit. Okay? They actually genuinely don't fucking give a shit. If you are seeking this out and you are getting yourself too deep into a community, I beg, play your games casually and invest your time into another community where you don't have to deal with whatever fucking bullshit that is bothering you. Go get a different fucking hobby. Go get a different fucking hobby, okay? I promise you, there are millions upon millions upon millions of people who play gacha games daily. Most of them don't fucking know who any of us are. That's just the reality.
Pointless discourse over nothing.
Just play your games. Just play your games.
Being started, and as I have alluded to in the title, attitudes and behaviors like this will only make the gacha community
and
a more
if you are
toxic
someone
and
who gets
unpleasant
too
place to be.
invested into this stuff and into this shit, you are part of the problem at large. Let's say, yes, I'm talking to the whole of my chat. I am talking to every single person in my chat right now. We are all part of the problem. Why? Because we spend a portion of our lives consuming gacha content and making it part of something we care about as individuals, which is fine. If it's a hobby, it's something we care about. That's totally okay. But the thing is, we have to acknowledge that it means more to us than it might do to other people. Every single person that is watching this right now, you all have to accept that. We care about this stuff more than other people would. We deep it more than other people would. At the end of the fucking day, you could all turn me off. You can all go somewhere else. You could all play your games elsewhere, right? That's really how it is, okay? That's the reality of this situation. We all care too much for whatever fucking reason that it is. All of us do.
As suddenly everything is an agenda or conspiracy theory. No one can actually like playing Hoyoverse games, they're being paid out and bootlicking, and no one can actually enjoy WoWa. Either they obviously just hate Genshin and nothing else. If you dislike something about WoWa, you better hope.
Wow, we can make our own choices, shocker, right? Hey, if there's certain creative videos that you don't fucking like, you have a bro. Do you know what you have? You have right here. There's a button here. There's a hide channel somewhere. You can fucking hide them. Yo! Warg Puppy, thank you for the gifted subby. Thank you, I appreciate it. How are you? Thank you very much.
Hope you have never mentioned Genshin ever, because instead of people actually discussing your complaints about the game, you have now been labeled a Hoyoshill sent to ruin the image of the innocent Kuro games, sent by the masterminds of the XJJ, and be prepared to receive personal attacks instead. These types of attitudes in the god.
Okay, bro's just making shit up now. Bro is actually just making shit up.
Community either just lead to toxic positivity or toxic negativity for both sides, with people unable to actually engage with any actual criticisms or positives about the game, which is obviously bad, as players don't know what issues to rally against or what to actually celebrate. Now, with the issues in the community I've laid out, there's really only one resolution on how to get the bad actors out of it. Satontus has pretty much just become the lol cow of gacha games, with people realizing how much bullshit he spews, leading to his videos being mass disliked. But dislikes don't actually do anything. You are still clicking on giving watch time to and engaging with content like this, which gives people like Saint attention and views. Then he can also cry about how he's being a victim even though he's the one who shot first. People like this only care about attention and making money.
Has he ever like cried victim? We're just saying things.
And as I've proven over the course of the video, don't actually give a fuck about what they're saying. They just want all the clicks and attention no matter how bad it makes them look. Video, don't actually give a fuck about what they're saying. They just want all the clicks and attention no matter how bad it makes them look. The course of the video, don't actually give a People like this only care about attention and making money, and as I've proven over the course of the video, don't actually give a fuck about what they're saying. They just want all the clicks and attention no matter how.
We're just saying stuff. We're just saying stuff. We're literally just saying, how about you, Flop? Are you the only motherfucker who genuinely really cares? Are you really the only person who genuinely cares about everything that you post about, and you're not doing it because it's your channel? and you're doing it to get views? Are you telling me you so deeply really care about all of these things that you make videos about, and you're definitely 100% not doing it because you want attention and clicks? I mean, come on,
how bad it makes them look. So you simply just have to block and ignore horrible videos and obvious rage bait posts. On YouTube, you can click on a do not recommend button, and on Twitter and Reddit, you can just block accounts that serve to just engagement farm. And once clowns like this realize that they're getting no attention, they'll move on to where else they can grift about. And if anyone watching this happens to be in the Gacha Police Twitter community or is an avid watcher of these engagement bait channels, I just want to tell you that these people do not give a fuck about you or what you're passionate about. It may be nice to hear figures in the community
Guys, I don't give a fuck about any of you, by the way. I don't give a fuck about any of you. Yep. Yeah, I don't give a fuck about any of you. Oh no. Oh no. Yeah, this dude does it for the love of the art and his love of the game. Definitely not mad. Definitely not mad at all.
validate what you like and dislike, but they know that and they're using you and exploiting your passion for money and attention. People that actually cared about your interests would not spread.
And you're definitely not making Genshin content because it gets you like views. That's definitely not why you're making just purely Genshin content, right?
So much misinformation and pump out tons of videos where they haven't even done the bare minimum for research. People that actually care about your interests also do not try and weaponize you against every person who disagrees with you and tells you to disregard their opinion. These people are trying to make you angry and upset and constantly paint themselves and you as victims, while they profit off of your time and money and you get nothing in return. I really believe you guys are more intelligent than that, and if after this video you still want to play into this petty tribalism just because you dislike a game or like one more than another, I hope these creators online continue to play in your face as they make you look like clowns and profit off of you. You deserve
Bro, if someone likes to watch Satontus's content and they enjoy the way he does things, they will continue to enjoy it. If they don't like his content, they won't fucking watch his fucking videos. Like, I'll be so fucking real. Or anyone's fucking videos. All this kind of content can exist. Anyone can make any kind of content. Do you know who decides what content is popular? The fucking audience. It's not like a Glaven State or Tectone even, or being like, ah yes, this is the content that is going to be prevalent in the gacha community. We are all doing it purposely to make the community bad. No, it's the fucking audience that decides what you want to watch and what gets popular. Right? Right? You are the ones who click on these things. You are the ones who engage with these things. You are the ones who give these things watch time. The game's the game at the end of the fucking day. The game is the fucking game. Can you blame people for playing into that? I don't think so. I don't think so. The big CCs are big because they can be entertaining regardless of the slop they react to. I agree. The sign of a really good content creator is where they could do other things as well and they're also entertaining. They don't have to be like doing gacha. If they do other things as well and you find it entertaining, I think that's a sign of a genuinely good like creator. Sure, I agree. Don't worry, he's the same content creator of all of gacha. I do agree as a devil's advocate that there's too much slop on Genshin because it's probably the worst assuming special to Historial. Got the skip update, but anyhow, Gates Over History is the reason where they are. Hey Cow, complete side question. Have you watched any more Freerun? No, I haven't. If people doesn't like some CC, they should know there's a browser plugin called Channel Blocker. Right, if you don't like it, just fucking block it. I also say block because I decided to jump making it was just not fun. If you're just better at something great, but not now. You could do whatever the fuck you want. You brother, you do whatever you want. If you want to block my channel, if you want to block anybody else's, if you don't like the content, you do you. I'm not going to tell you what you can and can't do with your fucking time, right? I'm not going to tell you. If someone's like, oh my god, I've had that before. Oh my god, they Cabinetz. Yeah, I fucking blocked her. Yeah, I blocked her because she was just so fucking annoying. Okay, bye. -1 viewer. Okay. You know, it's like, I don't particularly care.
Better content and content creators in your
I have cat block because I hate her content. I fucking hate you, Dispidius. I hope you failed at Ethereum restart.
Community. A lot of gacha games have tons of small creators that are really passionate about aspects of the game, which is why I've tried to highlight certain creators here. So go out and find channels like
Yo, thank you for the subbies. Thank you for the gifted subbies. I appreciate it. Thank you. Also, I don't like this thing of like, oh, these are smaller creators who clearly really care about content of their game. I'll be real, I don't buy into that either. I think everyone who makes content about gacha games to a certain extent are doing it because they want to find an audience in that space. Because like, I'll be real. I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it. I just don't buy it.
Like that, instead of the loudest and dumbest idiots that could care less about your hobbies. If you want the tribalism to end and the gacha community to stop speedrunning itself into a toxic wasteland, you have to be the first thing to change about it, and hopefully everyone else will follow. But with that, I have nothing else to say, so thank you guys so much for watching. And special thanks to all my channel members. I love you all so much and you mean the world to me.
Because like, I'm gonna be transparent. How many times, like, my channel is primarily Wuthering Waves. Don't get me wrong, I love making the videos that I do, okay? And I really like Wuthering Waves as a gacha game, as a game. I genuinely really do like it, so I'll make content about it, okay? But how many times have you heard me say, guys, you know what? I want to start making other things on my channel. I want to start uploading things that isn't just woo-woo content. And I've been slowly doing that, right? I've been slowly doing that. Hey, just upload what the fuck you want. You don't have to stick. I feel like, hey, there's so many grifters in the fucking space. Like, it is just true. That video is just full of bullshit. Flip not only saved tribalism, he ended world hunger. Give him a Nobel Peace Prize. Flip is the savior gacha needed. Hello? Oh god, I can't hear anything now. Internal boss. What the fuck is going on? Oh, I can hear myself now. Oh shit. I don't know what the fuck just happened. That was weird. That was weird.
This isn't my regular type of content. I'm normally a Genshin TC, so I won't do the whole like, subscribe, and comment spiel here.
So I'm just going to do the thing that I criticize people of. I find it crazy that this guy and one other person are just making these kind of pieces on the same time. It's kind of fucking funny. I thought I fucked up my sound driver again. Flop got her. No, Flop got to me. No, not Flop. Whatever will I do? Whatever will I do, man? It's so sad. It's so sad. Flop used to save the gacha space. By bringing it up, he did do the thing. Man, I don't know. I'm really tired of so many people making these kinds of videos of, oh, these creators are bad. These creators are bad for the fucking space. Oh, the tribalism bad, and then proceed to engage in it themselves, present arguments that are back-to-back dishonest. Like, genuinely back-to-back dishonest, creating the most insane strawman arguments that I've ever seen to try and make some kind of point. It's just so disingenuous. It really is. Games are gonna be cannibalizing each other. Yeah, at the end of the day, if you don't like a fucking content creator, block him and move on if you really want to. Like, who fucking cares? Who fucking cares? I don't know what part of him thought that this would be a good idea to post. It sells that's why, period, end of story, people love drama even if they don't admit it. Oh yeah, people lie. People say, oh, I hate fucking drama content. Oh, I hate drama. Oh, I hate this. Oh, I hate that. Bro, why do you think like reality TV is so fucking successful? Why is like celebrity drama a thing people love gossiping about? Why do people love gossip? We can't fucking help it. All of us, we're fucking filthy. We can't help it. We get so curious about this stuff. It's like, it's literally, this is the reality TV of fucking gacha games. It is, whether you agree with it or not, you find it annoying, whether you think it's destructive to a community or not, it's basically what it is. You know, Flop is such a stupid name, I could never moan that shit in the bedroom. I mean, okay, that's crazy. Bro, ew. Oh, that's like a horrible fucking, no, oh my god. I hope that's, you've just implanted a really awful idea in my fucking head. Imagine calling creators by the actual creator name and not the real names. That's like the worst fucking thing imaginable. Oh, that's the worst fucking thing imaginable. No, that's actually one of the most horrific thoughts I've ever had in my brain. And that's just so bad. That's just, bro. Yeah, if you don't moan Captain in my fucking ear, I'm not gonna bust. That's a requirement. song request.
Bim dam daridam vakim sonodonumi etadam ikusa